Initiating moisture.
I think it's important to separate art from the artist, and in the case of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I had to make this necessary distinction between the two because I do not like Quentin Tarantino. Not that I don't like his work, I think he's just a fucking psychopath. And saying you don't like Quentin Tarantino on the internet is like committing suicide because he's so revered, which I find super odd, especially in the current climate of things with cancel culture. This dude has done everything shy of rape and murder one of the actresses on his sets. For instance, he strangles Diane Kruger in Inglourious Bastards to get a realistic looking strangulation because he didn't trust the actor to be too gentle. He wanted to go hard to make it look right. He strangled Uma Thurman in Kill Bill. He spit on her. And also he nearly killed her, just outright murdered her by making her drive a car with no airbags, no seatbelt, some decrepit headrest literally held together by duct tape and goodwill. Had her drive it down this fucking stunt course like Evel Knievel, and she got into a really bad accident that she still suffers from. The dude's a maniac. So I don't like Quentin Tarantino. His work, different story. But Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I had to set that aside and look at this objectively. And to be honest, the movie's still not even great. It's definitely one of his weaker movies. It's not an overall horrible or shitty movie by any means, but it's a movie that is entirely carried by its cast. It has a really stacked cast, and they're the only good thing in this movie. This movie is devoid of a plot. You will not find a narrative in this movie. It is not structured that way. You'll find a theme, which is about coping with changing times, you being less useful in society, you coming to terms with it. It's about the struggle of accepting that fate, and that's really just about it. Everything else is kind of just characters talking to each other. There's no overarching plot. There's nothing that drives the characters. There's really just not a whole lot here in terms of substance. That being said, there's a lot of cool shit in the movie too. I like the way a lot of the scenes are shot. I like the set design. It really does feel like you're watching an old movie. This doesn't feel like a modern movie in even the slightest bit. I really, really like when they got into like an actual old Western because the movie takes place basically around this character whose bread and butter was old Westerns. And he got a new role and they're filming it and you're getting to watch this old Western being filmed while you're watching the film from the outside. So you get to see them saying like cut and shit in the scene, and then it goes right back to the movie. So you're watching like a movie within a movie. It's very nicely done. And I enjoyed that. Brad Pitt I think was phenomenal in this movie. But overall, the entire first 2.5 hours of this movie, because it's nearly a 3-hour movie, is just uninteresting, boring. It's just not enjoyable. You'll have things that seem like they're going somewhere. For example, tension will start building up on a ranch. It's starting to build up, reaching the crescendo. You got your dick in your hand and you're ready to see anything at all happen in this movie. And then nothing happens. Walks away. End of plot line. You never see those characters again. Nothing ever comes of it. Until like the last 15 minutes, you have nothing. No plot lines get resolved. Really nothing happens. There's almost no conflict or tension past that point. There's just literal nothingness. A void of entertainment. It's supposed to be heavily reliant on comedy, but Brad Pitt is the only one who does comedy in this movie and does it well. He is the only character that executes it in a decent fashion. Sometimes Leonardo DiCaprio's character comes across comedic, but that's just because of how serious the character is, and I think they do a good job with that sometimes, but overall the comedy doesn't land either, so it doesn't have that crutch to lean on either. The last 15 minutes, though, is spectacular. Absolutely spectacular. That was the only good part of the movie, and it was a really fucking good part. All the comedy works in the last 15 minutes. All of the actual shit going on works. It's shot so well. It's grisly. It's really, really enjoyable. But was it worth the tiresome journey to get to that point? Absolutely not. And in addition to this, there's a character in this movie who has a lot of screen time. Margot Robbie's character, Sharon Tate. She has a lot of screen time in this movie, but she doesn't do anything in the movie. Literally, the entire character could have been non-existent and the movie would have done the exact same thing, gone the same places. She influences not a single thing in this entire movie. I don't understand what the purpose of her character being there was. I understand it's maybe working the angle for Charles Manson because Sharon Tate was an actual figure, but Charles Manson doesn't have a role in this movie at all. He's just kind of hinted at occasionally. There's just nothing. This is a movie of actual nothingness, just hanging out. They show you a lot of movies, though. There's a lot of movies within this movie that you get little glimpses of and you get to take peeks behind. I appreciate that, but if there's nothing to hold that together, no narrative to get us there, no reason to see these things, it's uninteresting. It's just downright unfun. And now I understand what Tarantino probably wanted to do was completely break apart what a movie is, because movies are structured. You have a story, narrative, character, tension, climax, resolution. Those are simple ingredients to this fucking stew that we call movies. And there's a reason those ingredients are there, because that leads to a satisfying experience. You can play with these ingredients in all types of different ways. And I think it's unlimited the possibilities you can do with those things. But to just get rid of all of those things and make a movie where it's nothing but inside jokes, if you work in Hollywood, I guess, and sometimes occasionally something happening, it doesn't work. Because most people aren't in the movie making business. They don't understand the inside jokes you're making. This seems like a movie that only Tarantino and the higher up Hollywood elites, his buddy Weinstein, it seems like the only kind of people that would enjoy this are the people that get that understand, oh, haha, movie making humor. It really just doesn't work. If this had a narrative to hold it together, or any semblance of anything happening or building up to something that actually happened, the movie would probably be pretty fucking good. Because, like I said, there's a lot of elements in this that do work well when they're showing you a movie within a movie. It's just so well acted, too. I can't stress that enough. I fucking love Leonardo DiCaprio's character, Rick Dalton, and I also love Brad Pitt's character. It's just the problem is there's no reason or no drive for these characters to get to where they get to in the movie. You just sit there, watch them talk, which sometimes is okay and tolerable, but other times just borders on insufferable and can't wait to get the fuck out of there. It's not a very good movie. I wouldn't even call it a movie. It's like an anti-movie at this point. I really just don't even know what to classify this as. The last 15 minutes, I think at the end he decided, yeah, this is kind of sucks. I'm going to do a little something to make this interesting. And then he did, and he killed it. But up until then, just everything was useless, including entire characters that didn't do anything for this movie. I just really can't stress enough how disappointing and just how outright robbed I feel of 3 hours. If you're going to do this like pretentious take on movie making, at least have the decency not to make it 3 hours long. At least make it something short so I don't have to sit there fucking finger up my ass waiting for it to end or waiting for anything to happen, and you're not going to give me that. You're not going to give me anything. You're just going to dribble a little bit of breadcrumbs occasionally and then slap them off the table. Nothing comes of it. At least make it short so I don't have to sit there for that long waiting for nothing. Plugging this into the moist meter, I'm giving it an even 50%. Now, I know that's really low for Quentin Tarantino, and the rampant, ball-sniffing Quentin Tarantino fanatics are going to be up in arms. Oh, Charlie simply just didn't get the message. This simpleton couldn't derive the remarkable theme and message behind Quentin Tarantino's pristine work. Oh, a sterling job done yet again from Tarantino. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is a classic. It's not. The theme isn't that deep. In fact, the theme is beaten into your skull pretty goddamn early on in the movie. It's not a deep movie. It doesn't want to be a deep movie. You can probably pick it apart and try and find some shit that I don't think the movie ever meant to represent, because, again, the movie is more of just a breakdown of what a movie is expected to be. I think it was meant to subvert expectations, to really change how you view a movie, kind of just be this anti-movie. And it just doesn't work at all. Maybe if the writing was better, I really don't know what would have changed it around, but it just doesn't work. It's an overall disappointing movie. I think there's a reason why movies try and tell you a story, try to make you laugh, try and really do anything at all besides just have you look at characters talk to each other, because it doesn't come across as fun. And also, it doesn't tease you with things that might happen, because that's just always a letdown. That's like me going up to you and saying, hey, here, look at this car. This car might be for you. It's your birthday, right? Maybe it is for you. It's not for you, and then you fucking drive away in it. That person's obviously disappointed. They're not, oh, that's great. He subverted my expectations. He got my hopes up, and then he got them down. Solid work. No one's going to celebrate like that, because you go to a movie to experience something, to feel something, to be entertained. This doesn't do any of those things until the end. The end is super entertaining and really fucking fulfilling, but up until then, there's just nothing. And that's my biggest complaint. Incredible work from the actors, though. The acting is fucking nuts. That's about it. See ya. With the amount of tomatoes I've thrown at Ubisoft over the last couple years, I could run Heinz out of business. It is incredibly easy to hate this company, and they make it clear that they deserve it. They are not shy about telling you how much they hate you. They've become infamous for the you will own nothing and be happy mentality. They have even point blank said that gamers need to be comfortable not owning their games. This is a company that every step of the way chooses all of the wrong options during the QuickTime events. They are not even accidentally saying things that anyone could appreciate, even the most diehard Ubisoft Formula fans, if such a creature even exists at this point. They can't even unintentionally say something agreeable. Even as their stock price plummets, fucking death spirals, they somehow dig deeper. This is the equivalent to the captain of a sinking ship turning on all the sink faucets to try and fill it up with even more water as much as possible. I cannot understand it. Today, they've gone on quite the spree here, an entire montage of bad takes from Ubisoft, and I have to make fun of them again. I actually have to. Keep in mind, this company is so misguided. They released multiple NFT games only a year ago. And NFTs are dead and buried, and somehow Ubisoft is still pooping those puppies out. It's crazy how out of touch Ubisoft is. In order to prove that the stupid juice is still flowing deeply at Ubisoft headquarters to this day, let's go ahead and show you their most recent annual financial report where they talk about their microtransactions and how microtransactions are actually a good thing because it allows their players to experience more fun. Very reminiscent of that time EA defended Battlefront controversial decisions by claiming that it was intended to give players a sense of pride and accomplishment. You can catch a slight whiff of that aroma here in the Ubisoft financial report with that statement. And I also can't help but giggle at the first line in their financial report where they try and claim that they're an industry leader in this sector. What a load of fucking barnacles. Get a load of this guy. Maybe at one point in time they were, but these days they are just a public spittoon for people to walk by and hawk loogies on. They are a sad shell of their former self. But this is all public. You can all read it yourself if you want to put your peepers on it. Down here is where you can find this statement. The adoption of monetization and engagement policies that respect the player experience and are sustainable in the long term. At Ubisoft, the golden rule when developing premium games is to allow players to enjoy the game in full without having to spend more. Our monetization offer within premium games makes the player experience more fun by allowing them to personalize their avatars or progress more quickly. However, this is optional. How delusional can you be? It's not even like a good lie. The motivator for these microtransactions that they are ham-fisting into every single game of theirs for the last decade is solely driven by wanting to hose the consumer for more money beyond the initial purchase of the game. Trying to squeeze some more coins out of the piggy banks of the players, hoping that some of the whales will pay to maybe speed progress up like they mention. And while yes, it is optional, there is a little something called pay to win, and it is a very real thing. It's not some make-believe boogeyman. But even in cases where you're offering microtransactions in single-player games, which Ubisoft loves to do, that's not exactly something worth celebrating, because now you're devoting resources into trying to find ways to get more money out of this single-player game, when those resources could have been devoted to just making the game better in the first place, something that Ubisoft seems very against. Their games fall into the same formula and have been for so long now that people are beyond tired of it, and instead of trying to find ways to breathe new life into their titles, they instead try and find new ways of monetizing them through these microtransactions and shit. It's so tone-deaf as well, and it shows very clearly that they don't even see player feedback, because every single Ubisoft game that comes out that is riddled, infected with microtransactions, like every Assassin's Creed now, you find collective sighs from even the most loyal supporters of the franchise. People aren't happy with it. And here they are just completely ignoring it and trying to spin it as a positive thing. Like, oh, it's always optional. Like, it actually like goes over really well because, I mean, it's personalized fun, right? Who wouldn't want to pay for that? Am I right? But another thing that also came out here is Ubisoft's thoughts on the real reason Star Wars Outlaws flopped. They are blaming disinterest in the franchise, which, when it was reported that Outlaws was stumbling and not performing all that well, that was cope they used back then as well, like some whispers of it being like, oh, the IP is just not as strong as it once was. Now they're just coming out here with their whole chest saying, no, the reason Outlaws didn't do well is just because no one cares about Star Wars anymore. which is fucking crazy. They are just refusing to take the L and come to terms with the fact that the reason Outlaws didn't do well is it's just not a good game. And it doesn't even have the decency of being like a laughably horrible game where it could be like entertaining in how shitty it is. It is just so boring. It is like the most safe, by the numbers, bland, sterile, Ubisoft, Ubislop game. It is the same generic open world Ubisoft experience that we have seen 1,000 times before, and clearly people are tired of. The only difference with this one is it had a Star Wars skin on it, and also some of the worst stealth you'll find. But outside of the worst stealth you'll find, everything else was just serviceable. And it didn't even try to do anything well. It was just content being mid. And Ubisoft has, for some reason, really struggled with accepting the fact that mid just doesn't really cut it anymore. People don't want more Ubisoft open world games. It's been done 1 billion times the exact same way every time. It's tired and it's played out, and the sales show that with Star Wars Outlaws. It has nothing to do with the weakening of the IP, which is a real thing. Since going to Disney, it hasn't been as strong. A lot of the Disney shows have been super stinkers, but I think there is more evidence to the contrary that there is a hunger for good Star Wars, as demonstrated by Andor. I can't glaze Andor enough. I think that show is a masterpiece, and I think the reception and the absolute booming success of it speaks for that. People want good Star Wars. They're just not getting it often. Very rarely with something like Andor coming out. Star Wars Outlaws falls into the really uninteresting bucket of Star Wars that people just don't want to play with anymore. They don't want to touch, they don't want to indulge with. But there is still very much a lot of people wanting good Star Wars. It has nothing to do with the IP, with why Star Wars Outlaws flopped. But Goober is still trying to write it off as one of the contributing factors that the game suffered from a number of items. First, it suffered from the fact it was released at a time when the brand that it belonged to, was in a bit of choppy water, and then he acknowledges some technical problems, such as things missing polish, but they were polished and debugged early enough, but it had an effect. Which, again, like, yeah, there were some technical issues, but that is not the main reason that it failed, nor is it the strength of the IP during your release window here. You made basically the exact same copy and paste Ubisoft open world game again. No one wants it. Just accept it and do something different. The final little nugget from Ubisoft today is in regards to them loosely addressing Stop Killing Games, or more so, what they believe Stop Killing Games is about. And it's not the best response, but it's also being misrepresented by some publications with what he was actually saying. So apparently, Ubisoft CEO Goober was asked to respond to the movement at a recent shareholders meeting and said, regarding the petition, we operate in a market, and whenever we release a game, we provide a lot of support for that game. We also provide a lot of services to make sure that the game is accessible and remains playable 24/7. Wow, what saints. How unique. These heroes make sure a game is accessible 24/7, huh? That's never been done before. Holy shit. Crazy concept. Whoa. You mean even on weekends you can play your games? It's so stupid. Ubisoft does the absolute bare fucking minimum. Anyway, though, moving on. Goober says that the company provides information regarding the game and how long the game can be played, though he doesn't go into specifics about how those notices work. The crew, this is speaking in particular about the crew, did have a badge on its front box noting online connection required. You should have known better. You weren't actually buying anything. You were paying to rent. We were giving you a permission slip to play our game for however long we deemed worthy. And the notice in the fine print on the back that Ubisoft may cancel access to one or more specific online features upon a 30-day prior notice. Jumping a bit forward, he says, but this kind of issue is not specific to Ubisoft. All video game publishers are faced with that issue. You provide a service, but nothing is written in stone, and at some point the service may be discontinued. Nothing is eternal. And we are doing our best to make sure that things go well for all players and buyers, because obviously support for all games cannot last forever. The article then notes that this is not what Stop Killing Games is trying to do, trying to get perpetual support for the rest of fucking the galactic existence of these games or whatever. That is, again, not at all what it's looking for. Anyway, though, he goes on to say, the lifespan of a piece of software, whenever there's a service component, eventually services may be discontinued, but eventually the software may become obsolete over time. A lot of tools become obsolete 10, 15 years down the line. They're no longer available, and that is why we release a new version. And so we have version 2 and then version 3, but clearly this is a far-reaching issue, and we're working on it. Now, maybe I'm being too charitable in my interpretation here, but from this statement from him, it sounds more like he is identifying that this issue of games ceasing to exist once the development cycle has concluded is an issue that is not exclusive to just Ubisoft, and currently what Ubisoft does is just pull the plug and give players a notice of the impending doom. And he also makes a mention that games can't be supported by the developers forever, and then goes on to talk about how other tools also become obsolete and don't exist forever. It sounds more to me like he's just making a general statement about it, which he's right. The development on a game can't support it forever, which is why it's not what Stop Killing Games is asking for. It is asking for end-of-life plans, so that way when the development cycle is complete and they want to wash their hands of the product, what they do is they would have a plan in place in order for that game to be turned over in some way so that the community that paid for the game can still access the product they paid money for. It can still exist beyond the developer's need to support it. It is not an unreasonable ask. There have been so many game industry veterans with decades worth of experience in the industry coming forward to talk about how important something like that is and how reasonable and feasible it is as well. It is not some ridiculous request or anything. It is very much doable. And what a lot of articles have run with from the Ubisoft statement is when he just made a mention of the support for the game can't last forever. And to me, that wasn't the whole crux of what he was trying to say. And again, maybe I'm being too charitable here to Ubisoft Goober, but with the whole statement, it seems more like he's just identifying it is a far-reaching issue, and it is something that isn't exclusive to Ubisoft, but it is something that he also says that they're working on. It doesn't seem like he was trying to harp on that statement, can't support it forever, as what Stop Killing Games is about. It doesn't really seem like it was targeted and trying to spin Stop Killing Games as that, like I was initially led to believe from the articles that were talking about it. When you see the whole thing, I think it paints a little bit of a different picture. Of course, I'm still no Ubisoft enthusiast here, and of course, Ubisoft isn't exactly happy with this direction, I'm sure, but it doesn't seem like he was trying to misrepresent Stop Killing Games as demanding that we support forever. So, anyway, I still don't love the statement from him, because I still don't love the way they tackle it. I do appreciate that he says they're working on it. I guess we'll see if they actually do. But anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit more about how Ubisoft is going these days, because, yikes. Not very good. It doesn't seem all that positive for Ubisoft. And I don't know when they're finally going to have their come-to-Jesus moment and start making good games again and start making decisions that make sense in the industry. That's really about it. So, yeah. Manfred Kibbles, the dog food whisperer. And this was an early adopter of YouTube right here. May 30th, 07. Nice.
4 very, very high quality premium dog foods with us today.
Ooh, Gravy Train. I don't know that one. Does he eat these? Or does he just talk to him?
My puppy won't stop peeing.
Okay.
Well, you've come to the right spot to cure that. This is what YouTube's about. Eating dog food for 4,000 views 13 years ago. Describe it, please.
It's not bad. It actually smells like Captain Crunch
No way.
with a hint of tuna. Which is interesting because it's chicken flavor. But it smells like tuna and Captain Crunch.
I'm gonna have to get myself a can of Gravy Train to test that.
I'm looking. Okay, let's take a little nibble, huh?
Oh, my man! This is what YouTube is all about. Fuck yeah, eating dog food. No shame. This was before clout even existed.
Yeah, it's not very good.
That doesn't look too bad. I think Manfred Kibble might give that a passing grade.
Forkful here of Cadillac.
Yeah, it looks like straight from Gordon Ramsay's kitchen.
Okay, if this tastes half as good as it smells, I think I'm going to be a very happy man. There's texture. I think it's little pieces.
Some say Manfred Kibbles tries every dog food before it ships out to major retailers.
Really talking like a hamburger helper here. This is,
if Manfred Kibbles doesn't like it, it just doesn't make the cut.
Another bite if no one's counting calories, which I'm not. I was just on the South Beach diet, so I'm going to splurge a little bit here today.
It can't be real dog food he's
Really
eating,
is
right?
good dog food.
There's no way.
We have.
But I can't even think of food that would look like this.
Because if you don't like chicken, you've got to like chicken byproduct. Looking at this, I don't know.
I
if you
thought
get a
dog
close
food
look
was
at it, you
toxic
see
to
something
human
you haven't seen with
beings,
our
but
other
maybe
dog
Manfred
foods.
Kibble's
They
half
actually
dog,
put
half
every
man.
piece of dog food.
He's got the
through
body of a
what
man,
they
but the
call
insides of a
mini press.
dog.
Okay, I'm debating if this is actually dog food because it smells like human food. This smells very, very good.
No, this isn't dog food.
Wow.
It keeps giving like a little transition when he picks up the plate. He swaps it out. That's my theory, at least. But who am I to question the supreme wisdom of Manfred Kibbles? That's real dog food. You can't fake that. I've seen that kind of dog food all my life. Never tried it, but I might now. This man's straight chowing down on dog food. How much dog food does this man taste?
Favorite dog food?
The Misadventures of Baby Josh. Does he feed dog food to Baby Josh? Because if not, I'm not interested. God, we'll never know because he stopped making videos 12 years ago. Go. I'll subscribe just on the off chance he continues the saga. That's my second subscription ever. On this account, I guess. One day he will make a triumphant return. Manfred Kibbles has to come rate modern dog food. Without it, how am I gonna know if what I'm feeding my dog is quality?
Sehr anziehend und sexy, wenn ich so sagen
I hate
darf.
planes.
Die Tragfläche an, was ich sofort vorstellen und werde total...
I mean, not to be racist, I haven't met your boyfriend here. Maybe he's a good plane, but I just hate flying. Not a fan. Not a fan at all.
Stockt mein Schatz, wo ich
Ooh, is this
seine
like porn?
Tragfläche streiche.
You might
Is the
be
plane of
surprised
legal
to know
age? How old
that
is it?
29-year-old Michelle
Einen leblosen Gegenstand führt.
Ugh.
is not
Objectophilia,
just
I almost
any
forgot
inanimate
about
object
that.
that tickles her fancy.
That's
She
up there
is
with foot
particularly
fetishism. It's
enamored
very,
with
very
a
popular.
specific model during her first flight in the Boeing 737.
Oh, a
Ich
legendary
werde
flight to be
aufgeregt,
sure.
nur weil ich jetzt in ein Flugzeug
That wasn't
steige
turbulence you were feeling up there,
Realizing her
huh?
affection,
und besuche meinen Schatz und ich kann's gar
As
nicht
far as
abwarten,
Objectophilia
dass ich wieder
goes,
meinen
she
Wunsch
seems
habe.
relatively normal compared to the other ones we've seen.
Dann packen wir jetzt
The
mal
one that
zusammen
fucks the
die
Ferris
Sachen
wheel,
ein für morgen.
the one that fucks the picket
Und ganz
fence.
wichtig, es darf auch
The
nicht
one
ein
that fucks
kleines
his
Geheimnis
car.
von meinem Schatz dabei sein.
so Michelle has been granted some time with the Boeing 737.
Who's pimping out their daughter here for her?
Jetzt geht's
Or
los.
their son, excuse me. She booked quality time with someone's airplane? Lock that father up. He's running some type of objectophilia scam here with his plane. Whoring it out. She seems so
Having
happy-go-lucky
arrived at
about
Stockholm
this.
Airport, the staff are here to escort Michelle
Man,
to
the
the
booty
hangar.
call for a plane fetishist must be hard as shit to act on.
Right?
Oh,
Is that good?
Oh, she just got so wet.
We'll fix that for you. Okay? Fine.
I hope they put candles on the plane. Rose petals leading up to it.
yeah. Oh, my name is Michelle. Nice to meet you.
What a cool name.
Thanks
Ulf.
so much. I can't believe it.
Sounds like that's the name he chose for his Dungeons and Dragons adventure. Yeah, I'm Ulf, from the swamps of Mordogbach.
Oh my goodness.
This may look like an aircraft hangar, but this is about to turn into a goddamn X-rated porn set.
Beautiful.
I hope they bring out little, like, RC-controlled planes.
Ist einfach
Make it a
großartig.
giant
Also,
orgy.
Ich kann's nicht glauben. Das ist perfekt.
Yeah, you goddamn right, he's got a nice
Perfekt, einfach
cockpit in
über
there,
alles. Es ist einfach super schön.
About to turn into some, like, stepson shit.
Mein Wunsch ist es
When the
auch,
bigger
dass
plane
ich
comes
mit
out.
meiner 37 verheiratet bin.
Consent. And she gives consent. Yeah. Good. Why not?
Who says if the plane
Yeah,
consents,
I'd
though?
like to have a plane.
Just because you're whoring out your plane here doesn't mean that it agrees to it.
Ah, nice.
Ooh, a backdoor reach around. Kinky on the first date. Ooh, a little rim job
Schön,
action.
alleine bei ihm sein zu dürfen. Ich liebe dich, Schatz.
You don't even know him.
It was what? Twice?
She didn't even get to flick her bean in there. Give her
Super,
some alone
schön
time.
gewesen.
She fucking flew here to make out with this plane. At least let her get some...
Having spent nearly
orgasms
2
out of it or
hours with the
something.
plane, it's time for
What's up, everybody? It's Critical. I'm playing Sex Squad Adventures in Sex City. Let's do this shit. In the dark of the night, Sex City is in panic because of the terrible Sperminator, whose sole mission is to infect all citizens with various Fuck me, I'm just starting the game. This is for the PC, also, so There you go. Wonder Vag is a virgin, believes in true love, and promotes abstinence until marriage. Power, human lie detector, can tell if a person is lying. I'm glad they defined that term for us. Willie the Kid was bullied as a child because he never grew taller than 4 feet and is now sensitive to others who are different. He joined Sex Squad to prove size doesn't matter. Massive rock hard strength. Power Pap is sexually active and is a strong believer in getting tested regularly. You know what, I'm gonna stop reading there, and I could have stopped after is sexually active. Who's next? Captain Condom was a scientist who constantly worked in his lab to create the perfect condom. Due to a freak accident, he is now half man, half condom. He spends his spare time handing out free condoms. He's a regular old Johnny Appleseed. I'm gonna go ahead and play as the Wonder Vag. Because you've gotta wonder, what does her vagina smell like when it's doing a handstand? The Sperminator was once part of the Sex Squad. He got infected with an STI, went untreated, and now his goal is to infect everyone with his evil sperm. That is one fucking cruel goal. That is a nefarious plot. Sperminator. I warned you to get tested. Brrr. That's quite a response. Oh, what the fuck is that? He's firing street sharks out of his penis hands. If that's the way you want to play it, here, first question, what do we got here? Using a condom can always prevent the spread of STIs. Is this amateur hour? Oh yeah, give me that. Condoms are really good for preventing. Fuck it, I already know this information. Unfortunately, I can't read, but I do know this information. Oh yeah, get that shit out of here. Deflected. I've got the Captain America Vibranium shield here, you sack of shit. Herpes and genital warts can be spread even if no sores are present. Most people get infected from someone who has no visible lumps, bumps, or sores. Got that one. What the fuck are you doing, Sperminator? Yeah, take that. You trying to get me while my guard's down? My guard's always up. You could say I'm wearing a chastity belt, you sack of bitch. If you receive oral sex from someone who has a cold sore, you can get genital herpes. That's a trick question, isn't it? I'm going with false. I should have gone with true. That's a stupid question. Have they never heard of cold whores? It's when you have sex with a woman who's rather chilly and loose. Hang in there, Wonder Vag. It's just one bit of sperm. You'll be alright. Next question. Here we go. Let's rock. If you wear 2 condoms at the same time, you are being extra safe. Any rookie knows that. This game is simply incorrect. It's spreading false information. They call this sexual education. They may as well call this sexual defecation. I'm fucking appalled right now. 2 condoms, double the protection, double the fun. It's like the woman's being penetrated by a fucking tank. The birth control pill provides some protection against STIs. That's bullshit. Yeah, and it knows it's bullshit. I gave that question the business right there. Try and hit me. No, try. Yeah, there you go. Fuck you. Yeah, you're going flaccid now, Sperminator. Females need to start having a pap test when they start having their period. The fuck's a pap test? Porcupine? Anus? Pinata? Test? That's a very important test. Damn it. Females should start having regular pap tests once they become sexually active. Sexual activity includes vaginal sex, oral sex, and fingering. It is important that females who have sex with other females have a pap test as well. It is also important that females who have sex with other females invite me over so I can watch. I'm not letting the Sperminator win this battle. The Wonder Vag is an undefeated vagina of pure power, and I'm not about to let the Sperminator take her down. The morning after pill, Plan B, can only be taken within 24 hours of unprotected sex. I don't know what the fuck the morning after pill is. But the morning after, you know what? I'm gonna go with true. That's within 24 hours. However, Plan B could indicate, you know, it's time to blow up your ass cheeks, but you know what? I'm still gonna go with true. Fuck it. It says morning after. Terrific, I got it wrong. Oh, up to 5 days after sex, you don't say. You know, there's some false advertising, the morning after pill. Why not call it the 5-day after sex pill, Plan E? Finally, an easy question. There we go. Oral sex is sex. You can get infections like gonorrhea, syphilis, and maybe even HIV through oral sex. You can decrease the risk by using a condom or dental dam. A dental dam is a thin piece of latex that you put between your mouth and your partner's vulva or anus. You know, that's just what people want these days. Some saran wrap around their mouth when they're muff diving. That's an excellent invention, Galileo. When a female goes for her pap test, she is always tested for STIs at the same time. Well, I've had just about enough of this pap test nonsense. Oh, I got it right. Holy shit. Alright. Awesome. There we go. Okay. There's 2 right in a row. Here we go. We're getting back on track here, Wonder Vag. The urinary tract. Women who have sex with women are at risk for STIs. I think that's true. Yeah, you know what? I'm going with true. Here we go. It is possible to spread STIs anytime bodily fluids are exchanged, or there is skin-to-skin contact in the genital region, or area. Sorry, adding my own words here. Get really excited about my sexual education. Next question. Most people masturbate. I have never been presented with such an easy question. In fact, it's not even a question, this is just a sentence. I've never been presented with such an easy sentence. The sex squad here is not pulling any punches. They're telling it like it is. Most people masturbate. Now you have a choice. You can either stand up right now and say, I do masturbate, you son of a bitch, or you can sit down and say, I masturbate. Most STIs occur in people who are over the age of 25. Yeah, that's bullshit. Yep, there we go. Well, that was a really short fact. Usually it's like a couple sentences. That was just one. Guess I don't really care much about that one. If you want to be tested for STIs, the doctor will need to see you naked. That's about as true as it gets right there, folks. Alright, well, that changes everything. Yeah, that's groundbreaking right there. That should have been true. Please don't hit me, Sperminator. You're a dick. I don't understand. Like, that's a question anybody could have got wrong. The more sexual partners you have, the higher your risk of getting an STI. Everyone knows that's a myth. Except Sex Squad, apparently. Where are they getting this information from? A very unreliable source of information directory? Location? Yep, that's probably where they're getting it. Finally, I got one right. Poor Wonder Vag has been getting showered in sperm. Finally get to deflect some of it back at Commander Cock Arms. Vaseline is a good lube to use with condoms when you're having sex. It's a trap. They just want me to admit I use Vaseline on my nipples. I'm going false. Well, that worked out nicely. That's 2 in a row right there. We're hitting the hot streak right now. Wonder Vag is doing wonderful. Alright, moving right along. Give me that next question. What do we got here? Brushing your teeth right before performing oral sex can help prevent the spread of STIs. I'm not a dentist. How am I supposed to know this? I'll just go with false. Whoopee, I got it right. I'm not sure how I got that right. Although I guarantee that having a 50-50 shot of getting it right had a large role in getting it right. The morning after pill, Plan B, is an abortion pill. I don't know shit about the not-so morning after pill. I'll just go false because it worked last time. Works this time too. Plan B is not an abortion pill. It may prevent pregnancy by temporarily stopping the release of an egg from a female's ovary. Fuck it, I don't feel like reading the rest. Good enough. I now know what the Plan B, or the morning after pill is. That ought to be useful. That seems like it'd be true. I'll go with true. It was true. I bet that detective on the billboards there is pretty impressed with my deductive reasoning. Alright, let's move on to the next question. Nope, yep, first wiener wielder's gotta fire his semen at me. Here we go. Most common symptom of an STI is discharge. Well, why not just ask me to explain the Copenhagen interpretation? I don't fucking know what this one is. I'm gonna go with true. Of course, why would it be true? That would mean I get one right. That would be a fucking shame though, wouldn't it? I feel as though these questions are geared towards females, considering I'm playing a female character. Wonder Vag, to be precise. She's more than just a female. STIs that are not treated can lead to infertility. That's something that seems true. There we go, it was. But yeah, like I was saying, like I feel like if I was playing Captain Condom or Willie the Kid, I'd be getting a whole different lot of questions. You can't get pregnant if the male pulls out before he ejaculates. Who is she getting fucked by? Captain Planet? Oh, I actually got that one right. Oh, thank goodness they put coming in parentheses. I would have never known what coming was. They finally cleared that up. The clouds have been lifted. The sun is shining. Sperminator has been defeated. Alright. You have answered so many questions correctly that you have actually cured the Sperminator of his infection. He once again joined the sex squad and now does his part to keep Sex City a safe and happy place. If you have been having sex, make sure you come to the clinic to get tested and have your questions answered. Once again, the day is saved, thanks to Wonder Vag and her titties. That actually had a really happy ending. Sperminator went back to being a human, and Wonder Vag did what she does best. Saving the world. Alright, well, I'm done playing this. Well, that's the end of this video. Remember to rate the video, comment the video, and subscribe if you want to see videos similar to this one. See ya. Boy howdy, do I have a wacky update for you. If you're standing up, you're gonna want to take a seat. This is big. This'll wake your grandma up. I posted a video earlier today giving you the aftermath of the r/art Reddit mod meltdown and how apparently the entire mod team had resigned, basically turning in their badge and gun saying, you know what? We're done here, bucko. All because one greasy ghoul on the moderation team let his ego spiral out of control because of that small crumb of power he was given as a moderator on the subreddit. And he just went ballistic. He lost his mind, lost his marbles, but could never lose his virginity, and it was just pure pandemonium. He got called out, couldn't handle the criticism, and then it seems like the entire mod team disbanded because of it. But I just learned, because I was reading the comments on the video, that Dolan Darkest had posted an update to the story that actually paints a very different, even more pathetic picture than what we thought happened. Because their post just says, we out, you win, we all resign. But what if I told you that's not the whole story? What if I told you that was a big fat lie? The call's coming from inside the house. It turns out that the real scoop here is even more degenerate than you could possibly imagine. Like, I don't even think fanfic writers would have come up with something this embarrassingly pathetic. So, big thanks to Dolan Darkest for uncovering this, because it is unbelievably comical. This is a truly special crash out that undoes 15 years of professional Redditing. It's incredible. And I use the word professional Redditing in jest. That's not really a thing. If anyone calls himself a professional Redditor, that is someone that needs to be locked inside Arkham Asylum ASAP.
It turns out the moderator who power tripped and caused all of this in the first place, known as Neo Diogenes, actually had one last power trip. According to one moderator, they had no idea what had happened, as no communication was given when the subreddit was locked down. He undid this lockdown, and then he got kicked as a mod.
So this is one of the mods on the team that was unaware they were fighting in a war right now. They didn't know Judgment Day had happened. So they're saying, I woke up to a bunch of people DMing me about a situation I knew nothing about and responding to my comments in completely unrelated subreddits. I contacted admins, tried to contact the mod who had locked the subreddit through various channels, attempted to undo the lock, got my actions undone, then got booted as a mod. Now I see posts from meme subreddits I frequent and give my side. I haven't chosen anything lol. He then went on to explain that there can be unlimited mods, so he wasn't like taking somebody's space by being there and only did what he could to help out with some of the tools and things like that. And it was not like, you know, constant updates what was happening there, which is why he was out of the loop. So Scooby-Doo and the crew pulled up here, and Dolan unmasked the mustache-twirling evil villain, and it turns out it was someone named Neo Diogenes, which, according to a lot of people on Reddit, is someone that has somewhat of a toxic history. I'm not overly familiar with Neo Diogenes and his reign of tyranny and terror. I have no clue. But according to Dolan, that was the mod that was going on this wacky power trip. And this mod here is saying that they actually tried to lift the lockdown, which, you know, trying to get them out of DEF CON, ended up putting their own asshole in the crosshairs of superstar sniper Neo Diogenes, and he enacted revenge. He reinstated lockdown protocol and then booted this mod.
The only other active moderator I could find also posted that they didn't leave voluntarily, calling the mod that kicked them stupid, and providing proof they were randomly kicked, saying it was definitely just one mod crashing out.
This is another r/art moderator echoing the same sentiment as the previous one about getting kicked randomly. So basically, Neo Diogenes was purging. He was on a fucking crazy crash out, leaving bodies in his wake. I don't have access to any logs anymore, but I can post this as proof that I didn't leave voluntarily. You don't get these messages when you leave a subreddit on your own. I'm not sure which mod did it, but they're fucking stupid in any case. And then they posted the screenshot. The other message Dolan highlights from this mod is about how they believe it is one mod crashing out, which I think is the correct theory here. I think that's pinning the tail on the donkey. And keep in mind, all of this started because the person whose post they removed messaged him asking, are you really going to do this because I provided information? That's what started all of this. Someone just messaged the mod loosely questioning their decision, like with the enforcement of their rules, because it was a bit of a stretch. And that's what started all of this. Someone dared have the gall, the chin, the strong chin to question Neo Diogenes.
Now, during Neo Diogenes' crash out, he actually left a bunch of unhinged, sarcastic messages, deleting them 30 minutes later. Comments such as, "You're right, we look like total shits. It's why we quit. Better to be done with all that because we obviously suck at everything. You won, we quit. Go and live life to the fullest, champ. Like I said, I'm boring."
Looking at the message history from Neo Diogenes is just so sad. Yep, it's my fragile ego. For 15 years, all I did was, I'm assuming that says moderate. I don't know why it's censored. Maybe it's a joke. Maybe Dolan's viewing it as like a slur. And Reddit. Sometimes simultaneously. Holy shit, this guy's like an X-Men mutant. He's able to moderate and Reddit at the same time? What the fuck? I didn't know anyone could be so powerful. I was blissfully unaware that superhumans like this existed amongst us mere mortals. Wow, that's crazy talent. God, the tone of his messages is truly insufferable. Just playing the world's smallest violin for his pity party and the wambulance showing up. Yep, that's right. It was a temper tantrum. I've learned my lesson. It's why I'm not going to be a mod again. I'm not cut out for it. Sure, whatever you want to call it. Either way, the result is what you see. You're right. It would have been a good idea in hindsight and all that. You're right, we look like total shits, it's why we quit. Better to be done with all that because we obviously suck at, well, everything. Actually disgusting that he's roping in anyone else on the mod team to his temper tantrum. This was a solo project here from this guy. It was entirely just him alone on the front lines of this battle. The mod team was not backing him from everything I've seen.
And now, it looks like he has completely nuked his Reddit account. I actually caught this in action when I checked out his account earlier today. All of his posts being deleted and replaced with random words using a plugin, and now his Reddit account has absolutely no posts left on it, nuking 15 years of moderation that he did for free, by the way, nuking an entire subreddit because you couldn't deal with criticism, and then kicking every other mod while you're at it, making it their problem as well. And then deleting every single comment you've ever made on Reddit. That's some major main character energy there.
That was a beautiful callback from Dolan there. That shit had me giggling when he brought out the major main character energy. That was what Neo Diogenes said to Hayden Clay when Hayden was like, "Hey man, it really feels like you have a vendetta against me because of this is just way too extreme with what you're doing." That was one of his responses. He said, "I don't even know who the fuck you are. That is some major main character energy." So, based on this investigation here, with all available evidence, it seems that that post, "We out, you win, we all resign," was very misleading. The truth, hidden in the pudding here, is that one mod was going through a very impressive crash out, and while still power tripping, sucking their own dick, kicked the other mods of r/art, then made that post, making it seem like they all banded together in unity and left together as a result of the backlash from this guy going off the rails. That is a nefarious plot right there. That is dubious, to say the least. So now all the other mods that seem to not be on his side at all have now been roped into it because of him kicking them, making that post, making it seem as though they were still suckling off his nipples there. Like, hey, we're in this together. Like as if they were backing him up. But that's just not the case, it doesn't seem. That's crazy to go this far. So he kicks all the other mods and then deletes his entire 15-year Reddit history, and it seems like Reddit is the most important thing to this guy's life, so that is a big fucking deal. All because the guy whose post you removed dared ask for more clarification and if there was any wiggle room to maybe, like, instead of delete everything, just remove that comment that he believed was violative. Because someone dared ask him a question and try and, like, expand and question him, it started this crash out. That's unhinged. And I'm not exaggerating either. It was one message that set this guy off. They hadn't talked previously from what I can see. When that poster was moved, he just asked, "Hey, are you really going to remove it because I gave a little extra information?" And immediately he goes into, like, combat stance. He's like, "All right, it's time to get pugilistic. You ready for fisticuffs? I'm gonna maybe delete your entire post history. Would you like that? I could do that if you want." And the guy's like, "Okay, bud, calm down here." And he's like, "Okay, it's gone." Like, that's it. He took the smallest, most trivial nothing burger and blew it up into this. I just can't, like, it is a very special Crash Out. And also, my apologies to the mod team. I had no idea that he was using you like puppets in his game here. He was the chess master and you were pawns on his board. I didn't know, and I apologize for, I guess, making the assumption that you were all, fighting together here based on his posts saying that you were, or implying that you were. And I'm going to be super honest with you here, sports fans. It's hard for me to even be mad at this mod anymore. It has become, it's so fucking cartoonish at this point, this level of pettiness. I didn't even know somebody could be so petty. I didn't know that was possible. And from what I can tell, Hayden Clay, as a result of all of this, has gotten a ton of support. So that's really good to see. And it has just been a pretty incredible series of events to watch unfold here over the last 24 hours. Anyway, I had to give you the follow-up here once I watched Dolan Darkest video on it. Unreal. That's about it. See ya. Alright, here we go again. It looks like Charles has a bit of a hot take on a beloved new film that just came out. 31-year-old man still has to go against the grain the old-fashioned way. But I can't help it. I'm a little sea turtle fighting the tide here, going the other direction on it a little bit. Weapons. Debuted at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. People hyping and glazing it out the wazoo about it being like the best horror movie ever. Which I think is more of a curse than a blessing. It reminds me of Long Legs, how like a core component of its marketing was, hope you brought your diaper, cause you're pissing in it with how scary this one is. You're gonna be sucking on your thumb till you pop that bitch right off your hand. It's too scary. What are we doing? We shouldn't even release movies this scary. And then I saw Long Legs and it was just fine. And with Weapons, the hype is not quite to that level, but, 100% Rotten Tomatoes, people, of course, going ballistic for it with how incredible it is. I've never seen a horror movie like this. I've just seen it. Kind of feel the same way I did about Long Legs. Like, it's fine. Like, I enjoyed it. I had a good time. But, man, oh man, is it not nearly to the level that a lot of people are portraying it as, at least not in my eyes. Not that I let the hype really skew my thoughts on things. I just thought it was worth mentioning that, to me, this film isn't what people are gassing it up as. It's a horror movie, sure, but I would actually argue it's more of a comedy. Like, and I don't think people are aware of that. We're gonna get into spoilers, of course. I do spoilers now when reviewing things, so this is your warning there. I would say there's actually more comedic elements to this film than there are horror elements. Like, the actual plot and a lot of the things that happen, very clearly supposed to give you the heebie-jeebies, but all of it is undercut with comedy and humor, even in the most tense situations. It's like the MCU of horror. So, like, you'll have something that is clearly like, wow, this is going to be, like, scary. Oh my god, we have built up to this huge tense moment. And then they play it off as a joke, especially at the end of the movie. I'm going to get to that here in a little bit. And it was fine. Like, I don't hate that, but it's not really a horror when it's not taking itself seriously. You know what I mean? Anyway, I really like this director, Zach Kreger. He, of course, I liked his work in The Whitest Kid You Know, but he really surprised me with Barbarian. Barbarian is a film I saw on a whim, and I was blown away by with how interesting it was and just how much I ended up really enjoying it. So, like, I was very hyped to see this as well, and I do like it. I just didn't love it like I was hoping I would, and I think a lot of people are expecting this to be one thing when it's really not that thing. Like, I think they're going to get something completely different than what they're expecting. And for some people that might be nice, for others it might be a bit of a letdown. In my theater in particular, this isn't just me being like, big tough macho man, no movie scared Charlie, he too strong for a movie to make him scared. I mean, like, this is actually, like, I'm pretty sure, by design, supposed to make you laugh. Everyone in my theater was laughing a lot in this movie. More so than there were, like, any kind of, like, on-edge frights from people. Nobody, like, gasped or anything. Like, it really felt like most people were there having a hoot and a holler at it. And I think it's not laughing at the film, it's with it. Like I said, it feels like it's supposed to be more of like this unserious take on a horror movie when everyone else seems to be talking about it as just like a full-blown horror film. So I want to kind of set the record straight on that. Anyway, the film has a really interesting premise. Everyone's talked about that a lot. It's about this town where, for some reason, mysteriously at 2:17 a.m., an entire classroom of kids all gets up in the middle of the night, goes downstairs, walks out the front door, and disappears into the night. They run away, and they run away with their arms at their side, and it's really weird. They're running like the Titans from Attack on Titan. A month goes by, they still have no leads, can't figure it out. Of course, the parents are distraught. The town's still trying to, recover from this because everyone's on edge about it. And now we follow the core characters, one being the teacher of that classroom where all the students except for one disappeared. We then follow some other characters like one of the parents, and it's a really interesting way of telling the story because you go through some scenes multiple times from other characters' perspectives, which fill in a lot of the blanks. And I thought it was really creative. I thought it was very fun. It actually reminded me of something like out of a video game, like almost Until Dawn-esque to a certain extent. Like, I thought that was a really cool idea to visit these things from a different character's eyes, like chapters in this movie. I thought that worked extraordinarily well because you get so many different pieces of this puzzle through so many different lenses that all, of course, meet at the end. Everything comes together. And I just thought that was really smart. I also really like the way the movie's filmed. I've seen a lot of people praising the cinematography going into this film, and I think it definitely deserves that. It is a really well shot movie. They have some really creative scenes that are shot in a really interesting manner. It's not all just like the standard by the book formula that horror movies follow, or I guess comedies by that extension. I thought they got very creative with their shots. It's clear they were having a lot of fun. The performances across the board I thought were super strong as well, especially with Justine. She's the teacher of that classroom where all the students vanished at 2:17 a.m. where they all ran away. And the whole town hates her. They torment her. She's ostracized. They think she had something to do with it, is withholding information, maybe even just she, masterminded the whole thing. And then you start getting these questions in your head about, well, where is this going to go? And then you'll go to the next chapter and you'll see a character that initially you don't really see how that ties in anywhere. And then all of a sudden, bang, eureka, this is where it's leading. But this is one of my big holdups with the film. The questions that you have, the answers the movie gives you, aren't all that interesting. The questions themselves and the premise of the film are so strong. The mystery of it, the thrill of trying to solve it, trying to see where it all leads, and then when you get to where it leads, it's a little unfulfilling. I feel like it's just a little underwhelming, especially because the final act, as I mentioned earlier, is played off as a joke. That kind of takes a lot of wind out of the sails. You spend the whole movie with this mystery and these questions, only to then meet the big scary entity, which is just an old sick lady with a magic tree. And she has badly put on makeup with this wacky, zany wig. It's like a Ronald McDonald wig. It looks like Chucky Finster if he went to the worst barber on the East Coast. And she jump scares you occasionally throughout the film. And that's the main horror, is they rely on her being the jump scare moment. So Josh Brolin, when he's looking for his kid, he goes into the dream space, he's in a nightmare chasing his son Matthew. And as he's telling his son Matthew, I know I never said I love you enough, but I really do love you, son. Then all of a sudden he looks at his son's face, and it's that old lady. Her name's Gladys, and she's ah! And she does that a couple times. She's the thing bringing horror to the movie, because without her doing that, sometimes it's just not really present. Like I said, it really is more of a dark comedy kind of film as opposed to a horror film, not to split hairs. But then, as you have all these questions that you spend an hour and a half, stewing on, trying to piece it together, and you go through a bunch of different characters' perspectives, then one character meets Gladys, and then all the answers start coming in. Gladys is the big bad, and it's just kind of underwhelming, because from that point forward, a lot of what Gladys does gets played off comedically, unfortunately. But it's not just her. Every time there is a horror sequence playing out, they undercut it with humor. So, for example, Justine is spying on a house where she believes there might be something fishy afoot. And then she falls asleep in her car, and while she's passed out, the door opens, and a lady comes out, and she's holding scissors, and she's walking weird. She's walking real weird, and she's literally walking like Doodle Bob, actually. And she gets to the car, she's right by the window, and then she just kind of walks away, like Crab walks away. The theater laughed really hard when that happened. And then the back seat opens, or the back door opens, and you can hear her get into the car, and then it's like tense. It's like, oh, okay, this is like a good tense moment, and then she leans over and cuts some hair, and then the theater laughed again. So like they took a horror moment, made it silly, then brought some kind of like horror life into it, where it's like, oh, this is about to be like kind of intense, like what's about to happen, and then played a joke again on it. So you know what I mean? Like you know what I'm trying to say? It's like it does have horror, and when it's there, it's executed pretty well. Like I think there's like some solid scenes, but they always take the wind out of the sails of the horror aspect in order to play a joke into it. Now, granted, the joke is solid too, like it was clearly landing with the audience, but I feel like a lot of people might find that to be annoying or not what they signed up for. For me, I didn't care that much. Like I thought it was fine, definitely different for sure, and I was still entertained. Especially because in the last act, they don't even try to make it scary. They literally play it as like almost a slapstick comedy skit. In the end, they piece together the mystery, which, by the way they figured out where the kids were, to me, felt like they kind of wrote themselves into a corner and then couldn't figure out like a good way of getting there. Basically, they were able to connect the dots, like the pose that they were running in, and after another guy goes crazy while doing that pose, they then, Josh Brolin's character, tracked the trajectory, and then Justine was like, oh, that's the house of like that one lone survivor kid, like the one kid that didn't run away. Probably something about that house, and it's a house she previously visited, like with the scissors and shit. So they figured it out because of the pose, but the authorities like scrubbed over this footage a lot, and there's even this montage sequence they showed where all the kids were running in a group together in front of houses, literally triggering motion sensor lights and everything. They were running in groups to this house. I feel like the Ring doorbells would have absolutely caught them running in groups, and they probably would have been able to find them far, far sooner. I don't know how they would have missed that. Like, they made a mention like the Ring doorbells only caught them like running into the night, but they passed so many houses in groups. Like, I feel like that footage would have absolutely existed. They could have easily tracked that trajectory. Like, I don't think it would just be Josh Brolin that would somehow figure out, like, it's kind of weird that they're all doing the same pose. Maybe they were running somewhere. Especially when you would couple that with these groups of kids that no doubt would have been caught on all these cameras from all of these houses that they're running in front of and triggering all the motion detection. Like, I don't know. But anyway, they find the house, they go to the house. And they're like in the house, and she can control people with her magic tree, so she has like bodyguards of people that she's controlled. That's how she got the kids, because she mind controlled them to, you know, go hang out in the basement. And while they're there, trying to save these kids, two people that she's controlled, one of them being a junkie, start attacking Justine and Josh Brolin. I don't know why I'm calling Julia Gardner's character by her character name and Josh Brolin instead of his character name, calling him Josh Brolin, but whatever. They're there, and they get, of course, ganked by her bodyguards that she's controlling. And I shit you not, one of the bodyguards, Josh Brolin punches, and he gets knocked out. And then he gets up again, he punches him, and he goes, geez, what the hell? He gets knocked out. The guy gets up again, punches him again, knocks him out. And by this point, the theater is like actually erupting into laughter. And then as Josh Brolin's running away, guy gets up again, charges him, and he picks him up and actually ragdolls him. And then he's like, God, he's so persistent. And then he's walking away, and the guy gets up again, screaming and shouting, running at him, and he ragdolls him again. Literally like WWE, like fucking suplexing him and then throwing him around. And then theater is literally laughing at all this when this is like the entire build-up that we have built up to this moment. And it's like actually just a slapstick routine. It just feels underwhelming. Like I still think it's fun. Like, I mean, laughing at a movie is great. But if you're going there expecting horror, like a really good horror movie, I don't think that's what you're in store for. And it's not just that scene, it's this entire sequence, the finale of all of this tension, this build-up, all of your questions being answered, but the answer just not really all that amazing. So, like, the Gladys, she's about to have Justine killed, and Alex, the one kid who did not get mind controlled by Gladys and the magic tree, he was watching Gladys, understands how to like control the magic tree and use its branches, so he frees the kids. Well, not frees the kids. He uses the reason the movie's called Weapons is because Gladys weaponizes people. She's able to control them and have them do whatever she wants. So Alex then uses the kids as weapons against Gladys, where they then chase her down, hunt her, and kill her. And this is I shit you not, like maybe 8 to 9 minute chase sequence of Gladys going, oh no. She literally says, oh no, when the branch breaks, when he breaks the spell and like directs the kids at her. she literally says, "Oh no," and then starts doing this, opens the door, running away as all the kids are chasing her, going, and she's going, So she's running away, getting chased by the kids, and then she starts like breaking into strangers' houses, and they play it off as a joke. So like there's a family like watching TV, and then Gladys comes through and they're like, "Oh my goodness." And she's like, and she runs through the kitchen, runs out the front door, and they're like, "That was weird." And then all the kids bust through the windows and bust through the door, like, "Oh, Jesus Christ." And they do that for like 3 separate houses. There's one where a guy's mowing his lawn, sees Gladys running away going, He's like, "Huh." And then a horde of kids starts chasing him, and he's like, "Huh." Like, they play it as a joke, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's an effective comedy movie, but overall, I just felt like it was a fun movie. It was good. It wasn't, like, amazing. I definitely don't think it's the horror movie of the decade or anything. I don't even think it's the horror movie of the year. I still think Bring Her Back is a significantly better, like, horror film, but I think this was solid with the horror that was here, sprinkled throughout occasionally. And I think the comedy was solid, which is here in a bigger capacity than the horror. Like, it's to me, it's more of like almost a dark comedy, kind of. And I think maybe that was the goal. I didn't know that going into it based on the trailers and what people are saying about it, but after seeing it, I would definitely classify this more as like a dark comedy as opposed to some kind of like horror film. But I do think you will walk away entertained. I know I was. But yeah, I just have to disagree with the hype a little bit on this one here, sports fans. Sorry to tell you. But it's not like I was super disappointed or anything. It was still a fun time. That's really about it. So yep. Good news and bad news. Let's start with the good. We'll feed you the dessert before we give you the vegetables. A prankster whose content revolves around terrorizing and harassing strangers in public is facing jail time in France. The bad news. It's only 6 months. His name is Elon Magnaron, or online known as Amine Mojito, or Amin Mojito, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it. But his pranks were some of the classics that I'm sure we all grew up with and still giggle at, like we're getting tickled in our tummy. Like going to random strangers in public and jabbing them with an empty syringe and then running away, leaving them with the trauma that they may have just now been injected with either a drug or some kind of disease. Get pranked, nerd, right?
Mais nous avait menti. Ça va pas?
This is his peanut butter and jelly prank right here, the feel-good one. He's done this a lot from what I can tell. I've seen tons of clips and videos of him just going up to people with that syringe and just, giving them the old stab on the street there, leaving them to just panic, wondering if their life is now just drastically changed from some fucking unhinged lunatic now. Now, from what I can tell, the syringe is capped. So he's not actually, penetrating the skin or anything with it. But the victims don't know that. All they feel is that hit against their skin, and then this guy with a syringe. Obviously, you are now going to start worrying in a big way.
Mais, depuis le mois d'octobre, un chien, casse-toi.
Ah! What are you doing?
What the fuck? What the fuck? Who the fuck are you?
Apparently these videos had caused a huge stir in the country, and the Paris criminal court handed him a 12-month prison sentence with 6 to be served behind bars in the slammer, and the remainder suspended over charges linked to harassment, threats, and prior offenses. Yeah, so I don't think 6 months is nearly long enough for something like this. This is unbelievably degenerate. This is just downright evil. Imagine, you're just hanging out in public, sitting on a bench, maybe on a phone call, waiting for the bus, whatever, and then some fucking douchebag here, who himself has been injected with cringe clearly, comes up and hits you with a syringe, leaving you to wonder, what was that even about? And then, let's say he does try and clarify, it's just a prank, it's just a prank. Well, how do you trust that? I mean, how do you know it's just a prank? You have no way of fucking knowing if he is now just lying and he really did just inject you with something, you know, a drug, a disease, whatever. That's extremely scary. Like, if that shit happened to me, I would be living at a doctor's office for like a year. I'd be like a lab rat being tested every single day just to try and ensure for my own mental well-being that I didn't just get like injected with the fucking T virus or something from this guy. And I just don't think the courts went hard enough on him. They argued that his actions amounted to harassment, even describing him as a public menace. He also apparently already had a history of legal trouble, including prior accusations of assault and harassment. No, I'll eat my left shoe. I can't believe it. I haven't been this surprised since I learned Batman was Bruce Wayne. You're telling me the guy who thinks it's okay to walk around and stab people with a syringe on the street is someone who also has already had run-ins with previous accusations of assault and harassment? That doesn't make any sense. This guy, the prankster, the jokester, the turbo prank guy? No, that can't be. But at the end of the day, maybe this is all just a big misunderstanding because according to him, the videos were just meant to entertain and make people laugh, which is so clear because everyone was having a big hoot and a holler after thinking they just got stabbed with a syringe in public. Everyone was giggling. He admitted in court, though, that he now regrets the content and underestimated the fear it caused. Victims testified to feeling genuine panic at the thought of being attacked with a needle, especially in an era where health concerns remain high. At the bar, he acknowledged that he himself would have feared if someone approached him with a syringe. I also find the audience for this kind of content, the fucking goobers who laugh at it, encourage it, and just find entertainment in it, are almost as pathetic as the pranksters themselves. Like, I truly think this kind of content could be like a clinical diagnostic tool for mental disorders, because if you like this kind of shit, there's something wrong with your brain. Like, you are actually just a full-blown fucking loser. Legal experts say the ruling highlights growing concerns over the limits of online prank culture and the responsibilities influencers must bear when creating viral content. Mojido's case has reignited debate in France about where free expression ends and public safety begins. How is there even a debate there? How in any way, shape, or form does this fall under free expression? He is going around harassing and assaulting people, making them believe that they have just been injected by a mysterious substance in a syringe from some fucking weirdo. In what way is that free expression? Are you allowed to just go up to someone in France and just punch them in the face? Or what about just some fucking whack job on the subway jerking off and, like, ejaculating onto a stranger? Is that free expression too? Like, this isn't a free expression argument. Even though he didn't actually have the syringe filled with a disease or a drug or anything and wasn't, like, actually penetrating the skin or anything, it doesn't matter. The threat of it was still there, and he still did enact it on strangers. So, what if it was a gun? What if he had a gun, was pointing it in people's faces, saying, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna kill you? It's just a prank, it's just a prank. Is that free expression as well? I just don't know how this can even be like an argument that's being had in France. Maybe it's just a prank, bro, is like an actual really sound strategy, which apparently employs free expression into it in some way. If you just say it's just a prank, bro, you get off very light with anything, maybe, which is crazy to me. Like I said, I don't think 6 months is nearly enough for this. And from what I was reading, apparently there's even been like scares in France at like festivals where people were like worried or had expressed run-ins where someone was like injecting people like with needles, apparently with like drugs or something. I don't know if that was ever confirmed or not, but like that fear is already there. So this kind of prank preys on that, making it even worse. So it's just so fucking degenerate. I'm glad he's at least going to jail for a little bit, but it's not enough to teach him a lesson or anything like that. Like, I am pretty confident when he gets out, he's gonna go right back to this shit. He's hopping right back on the saddle. This isn't even like a deterrent to other pranksters or anything, because 6 months isn't like a long period of time there. They might deem all the internet attention worth it, because they'll get out and still have that audience that they built up from this trash. So again, while I am happy he is getting some time in the slammer, because even that seems pretty rare, even for the most diabolical of pranks, I just think it needs to be taken more seriously in order to prevent more of this kind of behavior in the future. So anyway, that's really about it. Just more dog shit prankster activity out there. So yeah. Well, it finally happened. We're here, baby. This day was inevitable. You didn't need to be Nostradamus nor Baba Vanga to predict that eventually someone was going to get shot over Pokemon cards. With the way the hobby has devolved and been completely destroyed, infested with greedy, insatiable worms that are seeking to just squeeze every bit of joy out of the hobby in the sake of financial gain, like tiddlywinks of financial gain in most cases, these pathetic scalpers are unhinged, unloved, unwashed losers, and it was always going to happen that one of them would snap and start shooting, and that's exactly what happened at a Kroger.
Meanwhile, a dispute over Pokemon cards may have led to a shooting outside of a Kroger on the Near East Side. One person was injured. Police say both people involved are adults. The victim is in surgery. It happened in the parking lot of the grocery store on Twin Air Drive just before 7 o'clock this evening. That's near the Community Justice Campus. Again, IMPD says their preliminary investigation revealed the suspect and victim had a disagreement over Pokemon cards, which then turned violent.
According to an eyewitness, it started because one of the men accused the other of cutting him in line at the Pokemon vending machine, which, I've said this a lot, Pokemon vending machines are basically PvP-enabled zones. That's where people go to just fucking scrap. That is where all thoughts leave the human brain, and it just devolves into Neanderthal mode. I have made so many videos clowning on and talking about the degeneracy in the TCG community, not exclusive to just Pokemon, but Pokemon is by far the biggest and scummiest of all of it. And these degenerate fucking vermin love to go to Pokemon card vending machines and just fight each other and fuck each other. It is just out of control. Like, I imagine not too far into the future, Pokemon card vending machines will just be banned because it is constantly just a source of problems. People like glitching the machines and then starting fights with each other, causing a big ruckus and a commotion for all the normal people in the store and the staff. I bet stores will start electing not to put those in their establishment because it's dangerous.
I mean, quite frankly, if it does turn out to be an argument over the Pokemon cards, yes, I think it's totally ridiculous. I'm not a collector of them. I understand that, there are some that are very expensive, but just like I said, we were told an argument.
The suspect is in custody, and IMPD says that there is no ongoing risk to the public. No one else in that parking lot was injured.
I don't know. I'd say sleep with one eye open just in case. You never really know when it comes to these scalpers. They are demons. They are the lowest of the low, and there is nothing they won't do to get their grubby, unwashed paws on some Pokemon product to try and flip it for a $5 profit. Don't be like these guys. Don't be unwashed. Don't be these irredeemable losers. You need to start washing. You need to take your hygiene seriously, so go to usechigi.com and get some of the best soap in the universe. I really do mean this though, by the way. The Pokemon scalpers are genuine maniacs, literal lunatics. So this shooting, I don't think is going to be an isolated incident. The violence is only escalating over Pokemon cards, and actually, just today, just like this shooting, I learned that there is now a trend where these scalpers are going to trade shows and putting trackers on some of the vendors and some of the customers in order to follow their movements, presumably to try and gank them later to steal their products, rob them of their Pokemon cards. Because at these trade shows, it's very high dollar cards that are being exchanged, tens of thousands of dollars worth of cards. So now people are reporting that they found trackers on their cars.
Guys, I'm just getting ready to leave the expo, and we always check under our trucks and trailer, and it's a good thing we did. Somebody put a tracking device on us tonight. So somebody's trying to track our stuff, follow us home. You get the point. It's pretty crazy. Be safe out there. That goes for customers and vendor alone, any show you're at. Tracking device put on our truck.
Now, when I first saw this video with the claim that Team Rocket's going around putting trackers at this expo, I thought maybe it was fear-mongering or just trying to make a viral story out of it, like this giant bulky tracker that looks like some kind of gadget or gizmo out of Ocean's 11. I thought okay, maybe this is fake for the sake of cashing in on the hysteria around Pokemon cards. But I have seen multiple vendors now claiming that no, they are actually finding trackers on their vehicles, like across the expo. There were a couple other vendors that reported that, yeah, they had found something similar on their vehicles too. And then I decided to do a little more digging, like, is this something that's new or has this happened in the past? In the past, there have been instances where vendors, not so much at expos, but like actual delivery drivers that have Pokemon product, have been tracked by scalpers in order to follow them to wherever they're delivering the product, and they put tracking devices on the vehicles. So, all signs point to this being real, like legitimate. It is something I can find evidence on in the past, too, way before all of this started bubbling over to this degree. So, it stands to reason that because of the state it's in, they might be doing it even more to a larger scale now, where they're putting it on vendors at the expo and shit. That is terrifying. Transporting Pokemon cards is more dangerous than transporting drugs. You might just get hit by a fucking bazooka while driving down the interstate because these scalpers caught a whiff of you having like $500 worth of Pokemon cards in your back seat. It's actually outrageous. I cannot believe the state of the Pokemon card community right now. And it's not showing any signs of getting better, only getting worse. Like, also, just today, the Costco Prismatic Evolutions restock happened, and let's take a peek at that line with all the people that were lining up around 1 a.m. waiting tons and tons of hours for opening for the chance, not even the guaranteed, the chance of getting their hands on some Prismatic Evolutions Pokemon product. Look at this diabolical line. This shit is going over to the next county. The line for GTA 5 midnight release wasn't this long. This shit's longer than Disney World lines. Fucking Taylor Swift concerts probably don't even have lines this long. And this is Costco at like 1 a.m. or something with all of these goobers lining up waiting for it to open to maybe see Prismatic Evolutions. It blows my mind. It's so pathetic. And not a single child in sight there, unsurprisingly, because what kid is going to be getting up at 1 a.m. to go wait in line for 8 hours before open to go maybe get some Pokemon cards? This is a hobby that has completely kicked out the main demographic it was made for. Children. It is all these assholes, these losers, and I bet there's not a single collector there amongst them. It is all scalpers desperately trying to get their hands on Prismatic Evolutions, which was a very popular set, and they covet it, and they believe if they can get some here, they'll make a little bit of money by flipping it on the secondary market. That is the entire clientele of Pokemon now, and this is just the perfect demonstration of that. It's just gross, man. I don't know how you can have so little shame. I don't get it. Anyway, had to yap about it again. That's really about it. So yeah. About 5 months ago, I made a video covering the tragic story of a streamer named Raphael Gravin, known online as Jean Parmenov. He was a streamer who was, for a long period of time, physically and verbally abused by people he considered to be his closest friends for their Kick content. And they were in the middle of a Kick marathon where Jean was once again the punching bag and the spittoon for them to basically torture throughout the entire thing. And after enduring so much exploitation and abuse, he eventually passed away on stream during this marathon. It is a disturbing, horrible thing to watch, and it is an extremely sad story. Obviously, people were very upset, rightfully outraged about the whole thing, so there were calls for action to try and get some justice here, get these Kick streamers held accountable for their potential role in his passing. And I wanted to give you a little update because it's been a while. This had been a lengthy investigation that is still ongoing, but 2 streamers here involved in this have been taken into custody. Owen Sananzin, oh, I sound like a fucking idiot. Wow, I can't read that last name at all. I sound like I'm malfunctioning, like someone's got me on the DJ's turntable and he keeps remixing it. Owen and Safine Hamadi. They were taken into custody yesterday as part of a months-long probe into an on-camera death broadcast via the Kick platform. Now, many of you might remember the initial response from those involved in this marathon of abuse was to basically deny all responsibility, saying things like, his health was just bad, he liked to smoke and stuff, really bad stuff. sucks to see him gone. He was like my best bud, my best pal. I love that guy, man. I'm real torn up over it. I can't believe it. But I had nothing to do with it. You guys are fucking stupid for thinking I had something to do with it. In fact, you're the monster for even thinking that me on camera beating him and, strangling him and all this had anything to do with his passing or anything at all. Ridiculous. That's been their whole strategy, is to just deny it and pretend like they're best friends and they're still so torn up that he's gone. Can't believe that this happened. It boiled down to them just playing a sad song on the world's smallest violin about how everyone's being so mean to them without stopping to consider their feelings about their friend dying during the stream of them abusing him for many days. And then, at one point, if I remember correctly, they even threatened legal action for people saying some defamatory things or whatever. It was a fucking mess. It was embarrassing and cruel. But it looks like French authorities are not buying the crocodile tears here from those kick streamers. They're being held on charges including assault, incitement to hatred, abuse of a vulnerable person, and recording and broadcasting violent images, according to the chief prosecutor. Now, you'll also notice in the paragraph above that an autopsy revealed that the death was not caused by intervention by a third party. This means that Raphael Gravin did not pass away due to physical trauma or any injuries that he suffered at the hands of the streamers or anything like that. It was due to other medical conditions. So you'll notice that they're not pursuing charges of homicide. They're not trying to get these big slam dunk charges of these streamers killed this man on stream. Instead, they're going for what is clearly evident in all of the footage of their streams together. Physical abuse, assault, stuff like that. Which I think is pretty obvious. You can watch them do that. That is the bulk of their content. They were abusing this man. They were exploiting this man. And they were recording all of it for their content, and they were making money off it. It was their careers built off the back of their abuse of this man. It is fucking sickening stuff. So even though he may not have passed away as a result of all of the abuse he suffered from them, it certainly didn't help his underlying medical conditions in any way, shape, or form. We also have that text message that Raphael Gravin sent to his mother, talking about how awful it is, the abuse that he suffered, that kind of thing. So they certainly weren't exactly angels here, and they didn't do anything to help him in any way. Even if they weren't directly responsible for his death, I definitely think it didn't help things at the very least. And these charges, I think, are probably pretty strong. I would imagine they stick because you can watch all of them yourself. It's all just right there at your fingertips. It would be shocking if they don't end up behind bars. If this doesn't lead to them going to the slammer, I really would be stunned. This had been many months investigating. There is hours and hours and hours worth of content showcasing their abuse of this individual. I feel like it's an extremely strong case, but we'll see how it all shakes out. If you remember, they were actually taken in by authorities a while back, but they were released. This, I do think, is different, especially after months of investigating, so I'm pretty confident that there will be at least some level of justice here for everything they did. What that looks like with time in jail, I don't know. I guess we'll see, but this should be a very severe punishment. What they did to that guy is beyond fucked up, and his passing is extremely sad. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of give you an update here to the story, and really, that's about it. So yeah. For the last decade, Xbox has kind of been like the James Corden of gaming consoles, where it's a joke that's just sad. It doesn't make you laugh, it just makes you feel bad because Xbox used to be such a juggernaut. And it's no secret, Xbox has been struggling harder than me trying to reach something on the top shelf of my kitchen. They just have not been able to find their footing. They haven't really been flourishing in the gaming space for quite a while. And now it's looking like they're just getting put in the dirt. It looks like they're going straight to Valhalla. Phil Spencer is leaving Xbox, and he is being replaced by a new individual who has no experience in gaming whatsoever, at least nothing that is publicly available, and is basically solely AI driven, like all in on AI, which is about as exciting as getting kicked in the scrotum. This is just a recipe for disaster, especially considering most people can identify the solution to the Xbox problem. Their woes have a very glaring, obvious solve that would probably help them a lot. Most people can pin the tail on this donkey. Can you guess it? I'll hit you with the Door of the Explorer. More games. There was a time when Microsoft shut down more studios than games they released in the first half of 2024. Microsoft has become more known for shutting down studios than they have releasing games. So the Xbox problem is no games. How do you solve that? Games. Like, there's just no reason to own an Xbox when there's nothing that's really coming to it. So now you have someone who's in this position that doesn't have any relationship with games, like, in their history. So this problem is still seemingly going to go unsolved. For all of Phil Spencer's faults and, like, the missteps with Microsoft, it's pretty inarguable that Phil Spencer at least knew games. Like, he was in the games industry for decades. And even though, of course, he made some real wacky, Insano-style calls, especially with, like, fucking Redfall, Lord help us all, heavens to Betsy. Sometimes you'll still wake up with cold sweats remembering that disaster, that blunder. But even still, he at least had so much experience in the games industry, which this new leader does not. So let's kind of go through the whole thing. We'll start with Phil Spencer's departure here from Microsoft. He actually made a Twitter post about it saying, "It's rare in life to know when a chapter is closing, but after 38 years at Microsoft, that moment has arrived for me. I've made the decision to retire and begin the next chapter of my life. It's a milestone that's given me a chance to reflect on the incredible journey I've been fortunate enough to share with so many of you." Now, also, Xbox President Sarah Bond is leaving as well, so both Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond are no longer with Xbox. Well, will soon be no longer with Xbox. It's a sweet, concise message just letting everyone know that he's sailing off into the sunset. And I think it makes a lot of sense here. He's been in this industry at this company for many decades now, many, many moons, and he wants to do something else. Totally understandable. I also imagine that the last few years at Microsoft here haven't been the most fun with everything that's been happening with Xbox. And Phil Spencer's been the face of Xbox. And recently, that face has been getting shoved in the toilet and they're flushing it. They're giving him a swirly because most people point the finger at Phil Spencer for all of the Microsoft and Xbox decisions that have been very poorly received. And he's been shouldering a lot of blame. I have to imagine that doesn't feel good, especially when there's a good chance some of those decisions weren't from the old noodle of Phil Spencer. It could have been calls made from elsewhere that maybe he didn't even agree with in the first place, but since he's the face of Xbox, the public would eat him alive for it. So I really do find it very understandable that he wants to step away from Xbox at this point in time and explore other aspects in his professional life outside of Microsoft. I'll quickly just dump my take in here. I also think a change in leadership at Xbox was warranted. Just look at how things have been going for Xbox for over a decade now. There's just been a huge problem with delivering games from so many of these studios that they have there, and things just haven't really been, the smoothest. So I do think there needed to be a leadership shakeup and, maybe a change in direction at the company. But I think the new captain of the kickball team here over at Xbox that they have chosen just doesn't make a whole lot of sense for a gaming console whose biggest fucking problem is not having games. Now with Phil Spencer gone, and in his place steps Asha Sharma, who is currently the president at Microsoft's Core AI product, previously with Meta and previously with Instacart. No gaming background, but it seems like a strong focus on AI in her career recently. So now she's taken the Xbox Iron Throne, which is leaving a lot of people very skeptical, because why would you hire a CEO of a gaming company who has no experience with gaming? It's a really weird fit. Now, there is a message from Asha Sharma. There is a memo that went out where she tries to kind of get ahead of like the AI stuff. So the first part of her message is talking about, how excited she is and thanking Phil and his leadership in the studios. And then she goes on to say, my first job is simple: understand what makes this work and protect it. That starts with 3 commitments. First, great games. Everything begins here. We must have great games beloved by players before we do anything. Unforgettable characters, stories that make us feel, innovate gameplay, and create excellence. And basically going on to say like how important great games are. Second, the return of Xbox. This is something Phil Spencer also said once or twice, if I remember correctly, and every time that this comes up, the return of Xbox, they make it sound like it's a fucking Jedi coming back, yet, unfortunately, it still hasn't arrived, taken the scenic route. But she's highlighting the importance of bringing back, the former glory of Xbox with a recommitment to core Xbox fans and players that have invested with them for over 2 decades, celebrating the roots and renewed commitment. And then third, the future of play. We are witnessing the reinvention of play. That, to me, just feels like a bunch of mumbo-jumbo buzzword nonsense. I don't think there's a reinvention of play. People still just want to play good games. I don't think there's like a huge change in how they want to play those games. It's just a desire for games, which have been severely lacking with Xbox. To meet the moment, we will invent new business models and new ways to play by leaning into what we already have. Iconic teams, characters, and worlds that people love, but we will not treat these works as static IP to milk and monetize. We will build a shared platform and tools that empower developers and players to create and share their own stories. So, there's some good and bad in there. That's great that they don't want to just take beloved IP and characters and milk them till the tits fall off. That's good news. But that last sentence about developing a shared platform and tools to empower developers and players to create and share their own stories gives me the same DNA that Roblox and Fortnite have kind of pitched about like AI to make your own games in their game, which isn't very exciting to me. But maybe it is to a lot of other players. I'm not really sure, and I don't really think that'd be like the best direction to go. As monetization and AI evolve and influence this future, we will not chase short-term efficiency or flood our ecosystem with soulless AI slop. Okay, I mean, that sounds good, but I take it with a huge grain of salt considering it's coming from an executive who is extremely intertwined with AI. So I would be shocked if she actually does have this view of soulless AI slop being the enemy, considering her professional career for the last few years is all about AI in general. So I guess we'll wait and see there, but it'd be wonderful if the focus isn't on just farting out AI slop at Microsoft. That'd be great. Games are and always will be art crafted by humans and created with the most innovative technology provided by us. The next 25 years belong to the teams who dare to build something surprising, something no one else is willing to try, and have the patience to see it through. We've done this before, and I am here to help us do it again. I want to return to the renegade spirit that built Xbox in the first place. It will require us to relentlessly question everything, revisit processes, protect what works, and be brave enough to change what does not. Thank you for welcoming me into this journey, Asha. Now, to me, a lot of that statement feels like hollow PR speak, where it's just standard PR drivel. We've got to return to the roots. It's all about the players. We can't be succumbing to the dark side of AI slop or anything like that. Which, it's hard to really be super enthusiastic considering this is a leader who, for the last few years, has been all about AI and profits and, profits by any means necessary. Like, it's not an amazing, exciting fit for a gaming company to have a leader who has no experience in their professional career with gaming. That makes it feel like this is a decision that is solely about trying to find ways to squeeze profits out of the Xbox, as opposed to trying to find ways to actually return the Xbox to its former glory. Because I imagine if you were looking for a leader to slot into Xbox for a new era of amazing games, to make it a powerful console player again, you would probably look for someone that actually has a passion for games itself. I don't know, but that's just my 2 cents, and perhaps I'm on fence for thinking that. Overall, it is just kind of hard to be excited about the future of Xbox, and I guess we'll see how it goes under this new leadership here. Anyway, that's really about it. So yeah. I'll just make a middle-aged mother who really wants to speak to the manager of the WWE, and then she meets Vince McMahon and he just fucking stone cold stunners her or something. Something poetic. Yeah, it's definitely gotta be blonde. Well, maybe not that blonde. It looks like she's going Super Saiyan because the GameStop manager declined the trade-in. Somewhere in here, maybe. That's a physical specimen right there. How jacked can I make her? Alright, I'll make a small, but really, that's the lowest height you can go in this game? There's plenty of heights smaller than 5'6". Fuck you, 2K. Yeah, it's tough being 5'6", I guess, man. Even the video games don't respect us. Just randomize it. Wow, I made Bane. I'm fine with that. I'm really here for Karen's story. The riveting tale of how her husband doesn't love her anymore. Man, I'm really staring down that milk hard. What? Is this like a middle school? Why are we having school lunches with little milk cartons?
But I never thought it would happen so soon. For Red or
miscarriage. She did this while pregnant. Huge mistake. Yeah! Take this, bitch! Yeah! My kid's an honor roll student! Oh, my kid'll fuck your kid! Oh god. This is chaos. This is chaos. The book club has gone sour. Good lord. Ladies, there's no need to fight over the gluten-free alternatives at Whole Food. We all know it's mine. No, I'm still getting fucked up. Get me out of here. JR, help! I'm going home. Yeah. Run, Karen! They've lost their goddamn minds. Look at that agility, that speed. Blistering. What the fuck is this? A graveyard of ladders? Good lord, Karen, show some fucking mercy. She's dead already. That's it, I'm walking the plank. How can I walk this ladder into the crowd? Oh, I've got the kendo stick. Please, I'm trying to win now. Knock it over, Karen. Whatever. God damn it. Get reversed, bitch. I will get that briefcase full of vaccines and destroy it. I will save the world from autism. Wow, I got tased. There is no defense. Oh, the mighty boot from the world's most single mother. I won't stop until the whole arena is nothing but ladders. Shit. Nope, might as well get another one. Perfect. I'll have this bitch looking like a Home Depot. I can't do anything. Push it over, Karen! Push it over! I've hit every goddamn button on my controller. Oh, there it is. What do you mean Red's setting up for something big? Karen's setting up for something big. It's called the refund. Her special move. Shit. Come on, Karen, we've got it. Who is this? No, there's no time for a rim job. Thanks for the resub, bees and train. Oh yes! It's a budget Walmart Bane! The guy I made. Sweet Jesus Christ! Slap her in the pussy! Tickle her vagina! I've seen it work in tons of porn.
I don't think I've seen you dressed up since our senior prom.
It was a great one-night stand. Please get out.
You have the list.
Her hair's moving around like a fucking Zoidberg's
Seriously?
face.
I put a really old, valuable magnet, right?
Just get it out of there.
Speaking purely from a graphical perspective, this may possibly be one of the best displays of talent I've seen in a while.
Just an old.
God, there's better animations and graphics if you just get two action figures and collide them together. I guess all the budget went into customization, which I'm fine with, I guess. It says Choco Mill. They put an H instead of a K.
What do you think?
How do you even make that
Take this
mistake?
seriously.
In fact, WWE action movies are some of the finest pieces of cinematic art ever
What kind of
produced,
propaganda
so
is
it would
this?
be
They're
an honor to
stinkers.
appear in one.
They suck ass. Fat ass. Stinky ass, like a
Train at the
Rikishi stink
dungeon.
face of
Come up with
ass.
awesome wrestling names.
Into the WWE Hall of Fame.
Be in a WWE video game.
Win a
You don't want that
ladder
one.
match.
You might want to cross that one
My
off.
butt, your face. What are you two
Oh,
fartwans doing?
shit.
This table is reserved for wrestling team members only.
My tits just look like two
It was
giant
a huge
biceps.
mistake.
Where'd the sound go? Did my character eat it? Now I'm fucking getting it. This is what wrestling is all about. You have no answer to this. My offense is flawless. No, 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 no! She stole my plan. I was gonna beat her ass out here and then run in. No! Does anyone know CPR in the crowd? For the love of God. Sweet Jesus, help! This isn't scripted. Take this! That's just gonna be the only move I use, and then get her with some of these. You guys like this? You like it? Let's get some crowd noise! Yeah! Murder! Curb stomp! Woohoo! Yeah! Woohoo! I'm flattening those titties. I look like Brienne of Tarth out here, just laying it down. Yeah, we're 3 months sober. And we're angry. Yeah! Don't move. I'm not done yet. I haven't had my pound of flesh. This one's for the spectators. For my city. Shit! Oh god, not a cookie tray. Whoa! The strategy! That's big. That's big. Backflip. Would gravity even allow us to backflip? Is it possible? No! Defying everything we know about physics.
Get my own action figure? Become WWE Divas champion? Is this some kind of WWE
She looks like she can't read. And there's nothing on that page.
Semi-posable plastic is the great.
What? Like this?
That was a huge mistake.
Oh no! I've unleashed Hothead Red!
I'm gonna take that.
Wait, that's an
marker,
actual
bring it to
child in the
grandmother's
background.
nursing
Isn't this
home and
supposed to be
cross out
high
parts of
school?
her chart, so when the nurse
What is that,
goes
a
to
baby
give the turn-down
genius?
Service, she won't know to flip her over. That's right. I'm gonna give your grandmother bed sores.
What is wrong with you?
These are all children.
Deep breaths. Maybe
These are
we
the
can
5
talk this
oldest
out.
people here.
Done talking. Ah!
This is what happens.
That kid is floating. He's not even on his chair. Who is that, 11? No!
Now her face matches her nickname.
Nobody in the background here, none of these kids are enjoying this. They're on my side. They all feel bad. Just stoic expressions across the board. What the fuck is going on? Just a shitty game in 2019.
That could. What? I'm not gonna do any of those things anyway.
It's an anti-gravity
We were
backpack,
just
what?
embarrassed
You
in front
poor
of the
shits
entire
don't have an
school,
anti-gravity
and
backpack? You must get bullied at
672
school.
people on the internet.
What, do you actually wear it?
I bet a bunch of those
Pathetic.
are repeat views.
See, this is what I'm talking about. I can't even open my locker.
What's your combination?
Just smash it in your hands, Karen.
9, I think.
Those meaty claws.
A lot tougher than they look.
I'm surprised he gets bullied. He's got a jetpack at school. That's a cool looking guy. That's a really cool looking guy. He's definitely selling drugs to children.
Keep the reward points.
Sir, you're too small to be driving a vehicle.
Trip to someplace warm, and you're...
I think it's about time 2K finally stops making story modes. I take that back though, because I enjoy the beautiful awfulness of them, like NBA 2K's story mode, some of the worst shit in the world. This is up there for sure.
We're finally
So I can
doing
appreciate
it.
them, but
Our very
objectively
first
they are
list
so fucking
item.
awful. I don't know why they do
Train
it.
at the dungeon.
Way to go before we can be mentioned in the same sentence as those legends.
Hey, close the window. My hair's blowing around.
And the dungeon
No,
is
I'm
a
kidding. It
great
does that
place
no
to
matter what
start.
for some reason.
I still can't believe your parents. Well, Here we go.
God, the world's worst looking trick-or-treaters.
Hey there. I bet you're here for breakfast.
And who is this guy? Why does he keep showing up in the loading screen? Who is this retired porn star? Alright, I lost. Just call it. I don't want to be here. Oh, holy shit. Little cunnilingus, and we pop it down. Also, fuck your partner.
You appear in WWE like 3 times?
4, if you count the time I helped carry Macho Man to the ring on his fancy chair gimmick.
Why is there so much dialogue?
It's a chair, not a car.
I can bring this out to the
Christ.
0. But you should be.
Oh, look, it's the old, happy holiday pedophile.
Can't believe
yeah, high five.
Career was
You'll actually be facing
Jesus
Red tonight
Christ.
in her first ever.
What is that, an android?
Wow. It's an honor.
Jesus, she's fucking coked out of her mind. Those eyes. She's seeing the future.
And watching weird videos of who knows what.
She's kidding. I told you to stay out of my browser history.
Wait, did you say this is her first ever match?
You're looking the wrong way.
Yeah, Red's only been training for about 3 months.
Is she
but
blind?
don't take her lightly. She's
Are we
really
wrestling a
good.
blind woman?
3 months? It took me longer than that to get here. And what kind of stupid name is Red? If anything, with your lack of experience.
God, what kind of ghost is pulling on my Karen's hair? Karen, there's a ghost pulling your hair. Quick, run.
That accent is funny.
Is all that pretty white snow out there?
God, it's like an
Stained
antenna on a
red with
car's
your
hood.
blood. And then gonna go stretch.
Should I tell anyone with kids to leave?
Nah, she'll be fine. I hope.
Yeah, thank God he doesn't have to make the kids leave. Am I right? Fucking Riley the Flash. He didn't get that name for nothing. He's gonna be flashing some shit out there. Don't worry, I've got this one in the bag. Yeah! A fiery start. The moment is on my side. Yeah! This one's for Riley. Everyone hide your kids. Yeah! From the top turnbuckle. Oh, coming crashing down. From the top turnbuckle. Oh, what a brutalization. I kind of regret not making her hair longer now since the hair physics are so fucked up.
Was injured.
Is that who I think it is?
Good lord, it's Wayne
That's
Gretzky.
right. It's me, the King of Cuteville, Prince Pretty. Unfortunately, I slipped on some ice and stubbed my turning toe.
I thought you said I wasn't ready.
You're not, but I liked what I saw from you out there during Red's match, and also I don't have any other options.
All right, I'll do it. First match.
Bro, what if it turns out the writer of this game was like Louis C.K. or some other like big comedian? Man, how silly would we feel?
I'll post.
This guy looks more like Sonic the Hedgehog than the new movie coming out for it. Who am I fighting? We didn't... Oh my god, I'm fighting... Oh no! Introducing, not a sex offender. I'm getting on the turnbuckle again, baby! It's a big one! Woohoo! Thank God, yes! Yes! Yes, thank you, Riley! Please, just don't make me play the game anymore. I'm here for the story.
Initiating moisture.
Let me go ahead and start this moist meter by confessing a sin. I don't like the Borderlands series. I wasn't a fan of 1 and 2, and I didn't play Tales from the Borderlands, though I caught up on the lore just for this game. That being said, Borderlands 3 is pretty fucking good. Now when I say I don't like the Borderlands series, it's not for lack of getting into it. I beat those games extensively. I beat the shit out of them, up and down, top to bottom. I fucked it in the ass and beat the DLCs as well. I put a lot of hours into the game, but it wasn't because I enjoyed the journey or the game as a whole. It was kind of Stockholm Syndrome and the only game out at the time that my friends and I could casually play together. And I'm happy to say that element's still here. It's still great to play with friends, and I see everyone talk about that when it comes to Borderlands. Oh, it's so fucking fun with your friends. It's so much better with friends. Yeah, they're not wrong, it is. And you know what else is? Literally anything else in the world. Anything is better if you have a group of friends together. If you have a good group, you could watch fucking dog shit get rained on in your backyard backyard and have fun together. You could make even playing the most boring game fun, like 2009 Football Manager Turbo Arcade Edition could be fun if you have a good group of friends playing it. That's not exactly a selling point to a game in my opinion, saying it's fun with friends, because everything is. The game still needs to be fun on its own, which Borderlands 3 is. It's a very well-made game, top to bottom. The gunplay is satisfying, rewarding, the build diversity is fun, the gun diversity is nice. I think it's a lot better than previous entries where most of the guns just felt like carbon copies with only arbitrary differences between them. Just super trivial shit where there'll be one extra bullet in this gun and also 1 point difference between this and the model you just dropped for it. Whereas in Borderlands 3, shit at least feels pretty impactful. It feels much different than what you just traded for. That's another thing. You're gonna be swapping weapons out like a fucking madman, like going trick-or-treating here with weapons. You're just gonna be having so much shit come in, you'll be having to get rid of shit to make room for new shit, which is nice. It keeps the experience constantly fresh. I think the abilities are a lot more fun this time around. I found myself enjoying that. And I also think the game's environments are much better designed. I think it's a lot prettier than the previous games, only via artistic choices. The game looks exactly the same as Borderlands 2. If you put these side by side, you would not know they weren't the same game. And that's not exactly a complaint, that's just the aesthetic of the game. It's not going to matter how much graphics evolved because this shit's staying cel shaded and it's gonna look pretty much the same. That's its design choice, and I'm fine with that, because they made some really nice art choices with a lot of the different places you visit. You visit other worlds, you go to a lot of different things that constantly change the tone of your environment, and I think they all work extremely well. I really enjoyed visiting all of the new locations, and I had a lot of fun exploring through them as well. I also think their enemy design this time around, the character design, the new characters, new enemies they introduce, is incredible. Much better than previous games, and it's just a general high point of this game for me. I enjoyed all of the boss fights for the most part, though they weren't mechanically difficult. I at least thought that it was fun enough with how the character looked and how they fought to make it a memorable boss fight. I also really liked Gigamind. I think he was really fucking cool. That being said, these are most of the compliments I have for the game. Everything else is about to be a negative, so go ahead, Gearbox fans, and grab your dick hard, because I'm coming in a little raw with what I'm about to say. The writing is insufferable for me. I cannot stand the humor in the Borderlands series, and this game is no exception. Characters drone on and on and on, and every sentence is supposed to be a zany, wacky joke, but it just almost never works. There's a couple of good lines throughout the game, but obviously there's going to be, when the script is like 70,000 words and it's all jokes, a couple of them are going to land, so it's good that they at least had a couple, but for the most part, this shit is stinkers. The jokes don't work. I really found it super grating, especially characters like Ava. Oh my lord, it was insufferable when you had to just sit through dialogue, and if you're just going to beeline the story, that's going to be a lot of dialogue you're sitting through. That's another complaint. The game feels like it wants to be more fast-paced than it's allowing you to be. If you're playing the story missions and you're just going through the story, you're going to be fucking nuts to butts, going hard as shit in all of the fights, jumping, sliding, using all your abilities, chaos everywhere. You'll finish a room and then you have to wait a minute, 2 minutes for a character to finish monologuing with his jokes and explaining the exposition, and then slowly walking up to a door to open it so that we can go to the next room, wipe all the enemies, which is fun, and then you wait another 2 minutes for that character to just very slowly walk his fucking ass cheeks all the way over to the other side of the room and open the next door for you as he's talking and making bad jokes the whole way. Oh my god. It made me so upset because you get in this rhythm where you're playing so fast and you're having a lot of fun, and then it comes to a screeching halt where you get just nothing but slow-moving NPCs that have to come hold your goddamn hand like a lost toddler in a grocery store to lead you to the next corridor for you to blast enemies' shit off. It was frustrating. Now, that problem doesn't exist in most of the side quests that I played through, and I had a lot more fun with the side quests than the main ones. Another thing, the narrative isn't good. The new villains, the twins, they suck. They're bad villains. Most of the characters in the game I think are bad, but that's just because the writing and the humor is so bad. But these villains are another step up. They're just not good at all. And talking about the humor being really more misses than hits, obviously that's subjective. I can see a lot of people, enjoying when they say amazeballs 10 times, but for me, hearing epic amazeballs 10 times makes me want to lay my ears down on a belt sander. It's an assault on the senses with some of these characters and what they say. Like I said, there are a few decent lines and a few decent moments, but overall it just wasn't for me. I get it if you like it, I understand. just totally not for me. And the good thing about the game is you don't need to understand at all what's going on narratively. You can ignore all of the characters and just enjoy the fun gameplay. And the gameplay is, no doubt, very fun when you get to play it the way you want to play it. Driving is still not good. I don't think Borderlands will ever get driving to a state where it's fun to go from point A to point B. Here's no exception. That's still a chore. That's no fun at all. But unfortunately, what's most insulting about it is you can't skip any of the dialogue or any of the fucking cutscenes. There's no way to speed it up. They're so proud of their jokes and their narrative plot line here that they make you sit through every excruciating second of wacky voices and stupid fucking phrases. So, yeah, I hope you're ready to strap in for that, or you develop a way to tolerate it, or maybe you're just already predisposed to enjoy it. I don't really know. It's just too much. Even if you like it, I can't imagine you liking it the whole time, because at no point does it ever let off the gas. It is always making shit jokes. It makes me so upset. If I could skip the cutscenes or blast through some of the dialogue, oh man, this game would be so much more positive for me. And I do like the game still, all this considered, but man, this game would be so much better for me. And I played it through mostly with Jackson. Jackson has the same complaint. We'd often sigh in unison when a cutscene started, and you've got this cool looking villain in front of you, and then they give you this stupid fucking line about them underneath their name. If you're familiar with the series, you know what I'm talking about. They have something about the character, just 1 or 2 lines, and it says some garbage shit like, "Sick burn, bro," which was exactly verbatim one of them for one of the villains that came up. It's just hard not to roll your eyes at it when it just doesn't stop. And the last major complaint I have also ties into this as well. It's the quest design. The quests make you fucking experience so much of this garbage long dialogue that's so tedious. The quests, at least the mainline quests, can sometimes be such chores. There's a quest where you walk from one side of the ship to the other side of the ship to talk to somebody, you walk back to the other side of the ship to talk to that person again, then you walk from that person to the middle of the ship to talk to someone, you talk to that person, run back to the person at the front of the ship to talk to that person, then you talk to that person again, go to the back of the ship. It's just this back and forth fucking awful thing that makes the RuneScape a small favor quest look absolutely beautiful in comparison. It is miserable. I hated a lot of the quests. Some of them, make no mistake, were very good and very fun, but man, there were some real stinkers that made me just want to stop playing and go take a break or do something else, anything else, except listen to that goddamn dialogue and walk back and forth listening to more of it. But overall, I'd say Borderlands 3 has been a fun game that I have been enjoying. So plugging Borderlands 3 into the moist meter, I'm giving it a nice 80%. I think there's a lot to offer in the game. Obviously, the billion weapons shit is really fun. It's never not satisfying to kill a boss and then he just explodes in this bukkake of colors that have all kinds of weapons, class mods, grenades. It's just a lot of fun. And there's a lot of different and really cool perks and stuff that go on different shit. And I just really find there to be a lot offered by Borderlands 3. So that's about it. So yeah. For a while, it was really common to see people use a very particular argument that I think is super stinky when it comes to reviews for movies and games. If someone critiqued a game or a movie, you would oftentimes find some very enthusiastic warriors going to bat for this multi-million-dollar property in order to fight for its honor, doing PR for free for them so they can continue to fondle their balls. And one of the go-to strategies in their bag of tricks while melting down that someone didn't like something they liked would be, "Oh, let's see you do better then. Oh, you didn't like this? I saw you criticize this? Oh, where's your resume? You must have done better, right, to have this opinion? Let me see, what have you done that's so much better?" And every single time I'd roll my eyes because it's just so pathetic. It's a weak-ass argument. You don't need to have created something of higher quality to have an opinion on something that you just consumed. The same way that you don't need to be a professional basketball player to have an opinion on how a game went down. It's so fucking stupid, and luckily we've finally evolved past that point. I don't see that much these days. But it's always been interesting food for thought. What would happen if a movie critic actually did make a movie themselves? What would that look like? Would it be good? And this is the first, to my knowledge, at least to this scale, of that very phenomenon happening. A huge YouTube movie reviewer named Chris Stuckman, whom I imagine many of you have heard that name before, maybe you've even been Stuckmanized at some point, has now just had his first foray into directing his own feature film called Shelby Oaks. He's made his directorial debut on the big screen. It's just come out. I just watched it, so I want to give you my review of it. Now, I'll mention this at the top. I have watched many Chris Stuckman reviews in the past. Not so much in modern times, because since becoming a filmmaker himself, he seems far more hesitant to actually criticize movies and is instead focused on just the positives of them, which is not really my cup of tea. If I'm watching a review of something, I want to know the pros and the cons. I want to know the positives and negatives. Nothing's perfect, and I want to know what worked and what didn't. Now, it's of course entirely his call to make with his channel there. It's just, like I said, not typically what I've been looking for in reviews, but that doesn't mean I dislike Chris Stuckman, and I'm more than happy to pay tickets here to go see his film and show some support for taking this big leap into this new field here. But the reason I mention this at the top is because, as I've said before, I do my best not to let any extenuating factors influence my view of the film. I try not to let any of these kind of biases into my review of a movie, so I'll be looking at Shelby Oaks on its own merit, on its own two legs, setting everything else aside. So, Shelby Oaks, is it good? It's fine, and at times, pretty good. Most of what works is front-loaded in the beginning. Like, the first 35 minutes of this film, I was really enjoying it. I thought it was an interesting premise they were setting up. It's all found footage that I thought was done very well. And then, after, like, the first 35-ish minutes of the movie, it then just falls into horror movie tropes and walks the same path millions of other horror movies have come through fucking fee-fi-fo-fumming and stomping around on. And it just becomes very underwhelming. It's disappointing given how effective I think the first 30-ish minutes were of getting you interested in what's going on here and invested in it. And then it just becomes very standard horror movie stuff all the way down to CG dogs, hellhounds. It's just, I don't know, that was pretty lackluster. Anyway, the beginning of this film is a found footage piece. That's not the entirety of the film, it just begins with found footage, and it's very clearly inspired by Lake Mungo, which is something I know Chris Stuckman has glazed quite a bit in the past. I've watched Lake Mungo, and this is, I guess, one of my hotter horror takes. I really didn't like it very much, but I actually think the found footage pieces that Chris Stuckman uses in Shelby Oaks are good. I actually think that was some of the best parts of this movie. It starts by telling you this story, giving you the foundation about this group called the Paranormal Paranoids, which is a group of friends that had a YouTube channel in 2008, and they went on all of these wacky, wild adventures, trying to capture paranormal shit, and every time they went out, they happened to catch some really freaky, unexplainable paranormal activity. And a lot of people thought they were phonies and fakes, but then in their final investigation, they went to Shelby Oaks, and none of them ever came back. We're going to be getting to spoilers for this review now. So now it's your spoiler warning. Okay, now you've been warned. We're back. 3 of them are murdered. This is established very early in the film. There's footage of it. 3 of their bodies are found. They are mutilated. They're dead. But Riley, the host, like the face of Paranormal Paranoids, was not amongst those bodies, so she's still missing, and it's been a mystery that's plagued the world ever since. Fast forward 12 years into the future, and we meet Mia, who is Riley's sister, and she's doing an interview telling the story of Riley, how she had these nightmares and these dreams of this man in the window when she was growing up, and it was terrifying stuff. She always had this, really deep connection to some unexplainable stuff. And while giving this interview, telling the camera about Riley, someone knocks at the door, and we meet a guy who says, "She finally let me free," and then he shoots himself in the head right in front of Mia and had a tape that said Shelby Oaks, which gives her the missing pieces of the puzzle to try and finally find her sister. I was drawn in here by the premise. I think the found footage elements were done well enough to keep it pretty tense, and there was a surprising amount of jump scares in here, like a good dollop of jump scares, especially early on, which I wasn't expecting. And it's all, well done. I do think for the film's budget, it is impressively shot. It doesn't look like an extremely low-budget film. This doesn't look out of place amongst the many numerous horror films that get farted out by the big studios that have millions of dollars in their budget. So it was filmed well. The main character's performance, Mia, I thought was also well done. And like I said, the concept was interesting. It drew me in. But once she pieces it together and goes back to Shelby Oaks, I really think it loses all of its luster. Now when she gets there, it devolves into very standard horror movie cliches, where she gets to Shelby Oaks and immediately she's seeing hellhounds. So there's some dogs around. Then it turns out it's a demon. It's all demon-based. It's an incubus. Then you start seeing big, spooky devil guy in the background sometimes, and he's fucking yoked, like he's really jacked. It's big demon guy. And he's the one that's been wreaking havoc on Shelby Oaks and, keeping Riley held captive with an older, creepy woman who lives in a trailer. Or, well, I guess it's not like a trailer, but lives in like a small cabin near Shelby Oaks, and that's where Mia ends up. I just would have liked to see it go a different route. I thought it was going in a different direction with how they were setting it up in the found footage. So when you get to this big reveal about it just being a demon who has hellhound guards, it's kind of underwhelming. Especially because they then just fully vomit everything to you. They explain everything about what was happening and why, Shelby Oaks is the way that it is and why Riley's been held captive here in this old woman's basement, the very cliche horror movie old woman. And it even does one of my least favorite things in all horror movies, where it has like the demon, of course, because that, I guess, is just a staple in all horror movies now. And then it also adds the force, where it's throwing people around with force pushes and stuff like that. So the old woman, whom the incubus, has control over, starts lifting up Riley and slamming her down and then force pushing Mia. Like, I really can't stand that. That is a big pet peeve of mine in horror movies. And then they followed up with a 1-2 punch of another pet peeve of mine, where main character makes an inexplicably stupid decision. Like, she had made many bad decisions going into the second half of the film, and then at the end, she is witnessing this baby be cursed with blood ritual magic and a demon, that she is fully visibly seeing all of this unfold, and then once the lady dies from the blood loss after the ritual and the demon now disappears, presumably into the baby, Mia then goes up to the baby and is like really excited, like, oh, a new baby! Well, come on, mister, we're taking you home! And it's fucking, it's unhinged. Like, what do you mean? You just, what? I actually couldn't believe that. And they tried to set up, like, Mia wanting to be a mother so badly earlier in the film, but they also set up that she doesn't like demons. Like, she is very wary of, like, this kind of shit. She is a believer in it. So even though she, like, really wants a baby, I don't think she would necessarily want the spawn of Satan as the baby that she takes home. It was so odd to me. Unless, like, the blood magic, like, brainwashed her or something, like, because she does rub her hand over pictures of Mia, so maybe it's implying that she's being mind controlled, but that doesn't really come across because she doesn't ever really seem mind controlled because she still has her own free will intact, which is evident in the next couple of scenes that come up. Like I said, really, the last half of this movie, and especially like the last fucking 10 or 15 minutes, I think just goes like Insano style in a bad way. Like, it just feels so underwhelming to see a film that sets up genuine intrigue with the found footage stuff, with an interesting premise and concept, lead to just your very standard demon showdown type thing where it just gets kind of goofy, especially like the ending. Big spoilers here. I've already given you a spoiler warning, but like this is the actual like final scene. He does get Riley home with the demon baby. Riley tries to kill the demon baby. Mia, in trying to defend the baby, shoves her out the window. She survives the fall out the window that had been cracking her whole life because of the incubus. I thought there was going to be like some big meaning there. She flies out the window. She survives that fall and then gets mauled and murdered and mutilated by the dogs. It feels really out of nowhere, and it really reminded me of how Wish Upon ended, which is one of my least favorite horror films ever made. That to this date, is still one of the lowest moist meter ratings I ever gave. Wish Upon ends in a similar fashion where it's supposed to like shock the viewer by subverting expectations, where she just randomly gets hit by a car. That same thing is kind of what happens here, where she just randomly gets pushed out that window and then mauled by the hellhounds. It's like, I don't know, kind of a weird decision to have it build to that. Especially when you consider that Riley has been raped and tortured for 12 years in that household by this demon, forced to carry numerous unsuccessful births, and then he finally gets free, only to get pushed out the window and mauled by dogs, like, instantly. I don't know, it just, that really was an odd choice for, like, the actual end. They then also try another big reveal about how Mia was actually the intended target this whole time to raise the baby. I just don't think these plot points were landing the way they wanted to, and they were really trying to put a lot of, like, shocking things here at the end that I don't think worked. The movie was at its best when it was making you focus on this footage from Riley's camera to try and piece together, like, what might have happened. Oh, am I seeing something over there? Or what's that? Like, you having to pay attention and having to think, like, wondering what's going on here. And then the second half, it's just completely abandons that and just is like, here's a hellhound dog jump scare. Here's demon guy. Here's creepy old lady with weird eyes, 'cause demons got her. Also, by the way, that old lady, she wasn't very far outside of Shelby Oaks. Like, she was still, like, right on the outskirts. How the fuck would the authorities have never found that place, by the way? Riley was in the basement of that place for 12 years. How did authorities never find that building? I don't know if I missed something or what, but Mia was able to find it pretty quickly from the amusement park. It did not take her that long. By following a hellhound, by the way, a hellhound that nearly mauled her to death at the prison just like 3 minutes ago that she was terrified of, but now she sees it again and decides to follow it like she was following a spirit animal. Why? But anyway, it does lead her, like, right to this building, which, again, was only, like, a brisk walk away. There's just certain things in the script here that I just don't think worked super well, from some of the dialogue to some of the scenes. Most of them, pretty much all of them, are at the end of the film. Like I said, the first, like, you know, I think it's like 30, 35-ish minutes, where it's the found footage pieces and setting up the story and concept, were really enjoyable. Like, I was drawn into it. But man, once they go off of the tapes and now Mia is about to go to Shelby Oaks, from that point forward, it just gets pretty weak. And since it is so many horror cliches you've seen so many times, even though it's not, like, poorly done, like, it's not, like, terribly executed or anything, it's just, you've seen it so much that it all just becomes meh. It feels like it did a really good job of setting something up that most people will be interested by, but then wasn't able to deliver on the premise super well. Anyway, for Chris Stuckman's directorial debut, I think this is a spirited first attempt with room for improvement. And I hope this isn't one and done. I hope that he directs another feature in the future that learns from some of the mistakes here and makes something that surpasses it. I think there were some good signs for his future as a filmmaker, most of which were showcased in the beginning of this film. It's a mixed bag. There are things to like, and there are things to not like. But overall, I give a lot of props to Chris Stuckman for making a fucking movie. It's easy to talk about films, it's hard as fuck to make them. And I think for his first big attempt at it, it is a passionate first attempt. So, yeah, anyway, that's really about it. See ya. Well, we learned how to handle strangers, but how do we handle God? What if God meets us in the alleyway next to the old van? You failed to watch when they got to bad touch territory? You telling me Winnie the Pooh's Too Smart for Strangers gets into molestation? I don't know, it seems like an iffy topic to be covering, especially on Twitch. But as a PSA, don't get molested.
Work until they drop.
Scribes?
Pharaoh Hitler? Yeah, Pharaoh Hitler. This is who Yugi was fighting in the Yu-Gi-Oh show. Oh, good lord.
But now the Spirit of God moved in the land.
Man, the Bible is hardcore.
His children.
What the fuck? It's been a while since I've read the manga, but goddamn, the Bible is nuts. Yeah, and then they put the baby in the basket, push it down river, and then he gets picked up by a pharaoh or something. Maybe. I don't know. I don't remember the Rugrats episode. Dick's Commandments? Well, they need a better name for that. Yeah, here's the 10 Dick Commandments, losers. Stupid name. It's a dumb name. Fucking Penis Commandments. Oh, there it is. That's that Krav Maga. I've seen these in the women's self-defense courses. Start hitting them with the purse.
That's enough of that.
Damn, Moses is a super Chad. What is he, like 6'5"?
Business. I beat you. You're no royal grandson.
You're fucked now. Look at this action. It's not really Killer Bean levels of choreography, but goddammit, they're trying.
But I can explain it to him. He's my grandfather.
Yeah, just check the security camera footage.
I know you.
Do you not remember the river, the basket, the blanket your own mother gave you?
Why did he wait this long to tell him?
It all happened.
I wanted to wait until you murdered a man before I told you the truth.
Miriam?
You finally come of age, my son.
What about you? Miriam, my family.
These muscles are crazy.
We always have.
I want my arms to look like that. Fucking water balloon on top of a water balloon. Oh, nice! Quick, get out of there. Fire that bitch into overdrive. There we go, pump that ass. The Great Escape.
May God be with you, my brother.
He's getting away, he's on one of those Tesla donkey models. Shit.
I'm a dead man to Pharaoh, and my donkey has a bad temper. So why don't you leave now? Let the women tend to their sheep. The two of us.
So now he just becomes a vigilante. You become Nightwing. Yahoo! Oh, Yahoo! Yahoo! Oh, ew! Bald! Ew! Ooh! Show them the power of the word of God. I don't know. Good God! This isn't even accurate. If you actually paid attention to religion and watched Beyblade, you would know Moses used a Beyblade to let it rip and parted the sea.
Don't forget the wax.
Those manatees are fake. They're CGI'd. Moses is pulling like a Chris Angel mind freak scam.
They'll kill us all thanks to you.
What do you mean? He's just gonna collapse the lake. Obviously.
Game of Thrones pre-sequel is getting made.
Fuck yeah, I hope it's written by 4-year-olds this time. At least it'd be better than Season 8. Oh wait, is this where he has to sacrifice his son, but then it turns out that God was just playing an epic YouTube prank on him? You guys remember that in the Bible?
Joshua,
Might have been Abraham, I don't remember, but it was like, kill your son for me, it'll make me laugh. And he's like, why, God? Well, because I want to laugh. Slit his throat and put him on the altar. It's like, God, I don't want to. He's like, you do it or the world dies. He's like, alright, God, I'll kill my son. And then as he's gonna kill his son, he's like, no, don't do it. Just wanted to see if you would. Lol. I'm pretty sure that was Abraham. This guy sucks. Fucking fat chef pedophile man. Doubting the 10 Commandments. Oh, also, spoiler alert. God doesn't forgive this guy for this.
Here is your God, children of Israel.
That's a shitty God. Let's worship a cow with a magnifying glass. Looks like one of the Arrancar from Bleach firing a Sarrow. Oh yeah, anyone remember the Tower of Babylon? Where God just wanted people to spread out a little bit more because he put a lot of work into the world, so he made this tower that scrambled their languages for no reason. Instead of just asking them to separate, he just scrambled their languages so they couldn't understand each other. God's quite the prankster, actually, like the original YouTuber. Here comes the genocide. The Lord hates golden cows.
What are you afraid of?
It's the judgment of the Lord.
Wasn't there one... Jesus Christ. Oh! Well, you just broke the commandments. That's your fault, Moses. Oh no. Dear Jesus. Moses is gone mad. Save them, golden cow.
Lord, forgive them.
What?
They're sorry.
You just condemned them to hell. That wasn't
Still
him.
angry.
You broke the commandments.
If you want to punish anyone,
You earthbended, not him.
punish me first.
Oh, nice. Blueprints. For the first RGB keyboard for gamers. What do they even eat out here in the desert?
All Moses does is talk with
What,
God.
fucking, they sustain themselves off faith? Is that their nutrients? That's an empty bowl. You're not fooling me, lady. It rains bread.
How long will these people disobey me?
Oh.
How long will they turn their backs on all I have done for them?
See, that's kind of a douchey attitude.
Perhaps I should just abandon them.
Lord, everyone in the land knows how powerful.
I was a star quarterback in high school, Moses.
They will all wander the wilderness until the last of their generation is gone.
That's so
Their
fucked.
Children, and their children's children will make the final journey without them.
Thank you. All because they didn't kiss your fucking high school ring. See, it was things like that during, like, the church ceremonies where I was like, what? It's a little douchey. You'd think, like, God, the infallible, would be, like, a little more understanding. And also not, like, an angsty Redditor, like, why aren't they worshipping me? Didn't they see my comment karma?
This because
Soon our people will see the promised land.
They won't.
That is a great thing.
No, that's a shame that he doesn't know. God already forsake them. Told them they couldn't see it. He denied them entry to the club.
One time, I failed him.
What?
So, justly, I was punished.
When did... Oh, he failed him when he hit the rock, right? That was Moses' one sin because he hit a rock.
That is to be my reward, Joshua.
That's such cutthroat. Like, those rules are strict as shit. So where is Moses going? Just looking for a nice rock to die on or something? It's kind of fucked up. God's not even letting him go to the promised land. He's right there. He could literally pee onto it. He could drop trow and take a piss and hit the promised land from here.
This is your place.
It's fucked up. All because he hit a rock with a stick? Boo! Bible's too mean. The fuck? When it comes to internet trends and memes, I am very, very far behind the times. I had learned about Big Chungus only a few weeks ago, and apparently it's been dead for like a year now. But that being said, I'm pretty goddamn early to the newest one that's taking over Twitter called the Bottle Cap Challenge, and the only reason I was made aware of it because my boy, my favorite martial artist, Donnie Yen, participated in it. And this challenge is just taking the fucking internet by storm. Not only did Donnie Yen participate, but my fucking boy Vasily Kamatsky, the king of slapping, the god slap, also participated. Let me just show you what the Bottle Cap Challenge is. Naturally, as a high-level competitive athlete, I saw these and wanted to compete with them to make the best possible bottle cap video. And, you know, I realized I'm no martial artist. I can't even get my foot up to, like, my nipples length when I kick it straight up without pulling something drastically. No, I can't slap very hard. If I slap someone, it'd be like getting hit by a third grader's fingertips. So I couldn't do either of those. I also can't break dance. But what I can do is I'm quite the goddamn mastermind when it comes to fleshlight martial arts. So I thought, let's try and get this bottle cap off with a fleshlight, and that's exactly what I did. I took this challenge to the next fucking level. This was actually my third attempt. The first two didn't go nearly as well. I wasn't too pleased with the marksmanship I had displayed in the first two, but I'll share them with you anyway so you can see the process. I got a little something special to make you happy this Friday morning, so clear a little space in your room and get ready to bust out the old hot dog dance. You're going to be cutting the rug when you hear this. U.S. Supreme Court declines to hear dispute over copyrights for AI-generated material. That's right, they are not folding like origami here on this topic. There has already been a precedent set that you cannot copyright AI-generated work. And despite AI dweebs constantly trying to fight tooth and nail for copyright protections for their sludge and slop of AI art and that shit, the U.S. Supreme Court is saying, nuh-uh. No, this is dumb, this is barnacles, which is exactly what they should be doing. Under no circumstances should AI-generated work be eligible for copyright protection. That's such an outlandish notion. This can just put the smile on the face of even the biggest Grinch. Supreme Court declined on Monday to take up the issue of whether art generated by artificial intelligence can be copyrighted under U.S. law, turning away a case involving a computer scientist from Missouri who was denied a copyright for a piece of visual art made by his AI system. Plaintiff Stephen Thaler had appealed to the justices after lower courts upheld a U.S. Copyright Office decision that the AI-crafted visual art at issue in this case was ineligible for copyright protection because it did not have a human creator. Music to my ears. That is exactly right. Pin the tail on the donkey. That is the truth with some cheese on it. AI-generated shit like this, these AI hemorrhoids, are not actual human creations at all. It isn't something that should be copyrightable, especially because what gets generated is based off of other people's work, already existing works. It's just derivative of that, what it was trained on. So I am happy to see that common sense is prevailing here in this case. And also, I've seen some people bemoaning this decision here about like how this is so bad for AI artists. Won't someone think of the struggling AI artists? And it's interesting because one of the core arguments I've seen from that community is that IP is a scam. No one should own IP. It should be freely and readily accessible to everyone to steal and iterate on. And yet, then they turn around and try and copyright their own AI trash, their own AI IP, so they can keep it under lock and key. Goddamn hypocrites. It's ridiculous. Also, that whole argument is stupid in the first place. If there was no such thing as IP, then you know who benefits? It's not the little guy. It's not like the average Joe Schmo. It's the big corporations. They can just take all of your shit and pump out endless content far better than any normal person ever could. So while there definitely are some very real problems with current IP law, the whole idea of IP is sensible and necessary, because if it didn't exist, what stops Disney from just going online and just taking everyone's shit, right? Like, let's say they stumble across Godslap, our comic book IP, as well as upcoming animated feature film. They could easily just be like, okay, well, we'll just go ahead and take that and we'll beat Charles and his team to it. What takes them years will take us months and we'll just start making tons of money off Godslap. Fuck them. And if there's no such thing as IP, what am I going to do? They can just biblically smack me down. But because there are protections in place, I could absolutely blast those cheeks in a court of law about the violations there. So there is a real merit to IP existing. Yes, there are problems, but it is a necessary thing, because if it didn't exist, the people that benefit are not you, me, or any other person. It's companies that would benefit from just taking your shit and capitalizing off it, and you get in return nothing, absolutely nothing. So it's a brain dead argument from a brain dead community of AI jingling keys enthusiasts that clearly don't fucking think for themselves anymore. They just ask Grok to do it for them. It's so degenerate and so cringe, and I love seeing news like this where there's a bit of a reality check there. And yet they still can't have that come to Jesus moment about, maybe we're the fucking idiots. Maybe we're the ones that aren't activating neurons. Anyway, though, to go back to dancing in this guy's tears, a federal judge in Washington upheld the office's decision in the Thaler case in 2023, writing that human authorship is a bedrock requirement of copyright, and the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia affirmed the ruling in 2025. Thaler's lawyers told the Supreme Court in a filing that his case was of paramount importance considering the rapid rise of generative AI. Oh yeah, I'm sure this is a big life or death moment here. This case we're going to be talking about for eons to come, no doubt, about this one fucking stupid asshole's dumb AI-generated piece of art of train tracks going to a portal. Like, yeah, I'm sure this is the one of paramount importance. Oh my god, it's so cringe. With the refusal by the court to hear the appeal, Thaler's lawyers said, even if it later overturns the Copyright Office's test in another case, it will be too late. The Copyright Office will have irreversibly and negatively impacted AI development and use in the creative industry during critically important years. Stop, no! I can only come so hard. I can only handle so much good news all at once. Oh, that just sounds so wonderful. Smooth silk in my ears. Although the Copyright Act does not define the term author, multiple provisions of the Act make clear that the term refers to a human rather than a machine, the administration said. The Supreme Court previously rejected Thaler's request to hear his argument in a separate case involving prototypes for a beverage holder and a light beacon concerning whether AI-generated inventions should be eligible for U.S. patent protections. This guy just sucks. What a loser. His patent applications were rejected by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office on similar grounds. You don't say! This guy just keeps hawking anything AI generated and taking it to Big Daddy government. Hey guys, can we get some patents and protections for this trash, please? Oh, come on! AI worked so hard on it. I'm a prompt engineer. Think about me. Please copyright it. Please! The desperation is like a tasty treat here. This guy wants copyright protection for his AI-generated trash, yet believes that it's totally fine to take from other real human beings' work in order to make his shit. So it's like, okay, I can steal from you, but if anyone tries to take my train tracks to a portal, it's getting pugilistic, okay? Government, back me up, please. What do you mean, no? This really is such a good thing, because let's think about this at scale, even outside of this dumbass's train track AI piece. Companies that, like, replace their entire creative workforce with AI down the line. Well, assuming these rulings continue to be upheld, it's going to mean that their output won't be protected by copyright anymore because it will not be human created, right? That would be the implication. They've set the precedent that it must be a human author, and just simply typing sentences to have AI, a machine, do it all for you doesn't count. So, when you have Coca-Cola, for example, that's become addicted to AI slop with all of their AI commercials, when you have them putting out these fully AI-generated commercials, they don't actually own any of that, it seems. That would be the understanding, that what they are spitting out from AI is not copyrightable. So those are completely nothing. They don't own shit. Someone who develops a shitty game in Roblox owns more IP than Coke does of that commercial that they've just put out there. Which makes sense because, again, humans didn't create it. There's nothing real in there from an actual human that made that, other than the sentences, which don't count because it is a machine that does it all for you. So, maybe this could even serve as a deterrent from these fucking vampiric corporations that are just doing their best to ham-fist AI into every single aspect of their companies to replace as many people as possible. Maybe they would think twice, because as it all goes fully AI, they no longer have copyright protections on what gets farted out from it. So, who knows? But anyway, I just wanted to celebrate this because this is a very positive development here. I think this is absolutely the right choice, and hopefully it never wavers. I hope they don't falter on this stance, because they are correct. Copyrightable work should be reserved exclusively for human-created work, not AI drivel. Anyway, that's really about it. See ya.
Initiating moisture.
Nostalgia comes in many forms. Maybe you think back on grandma's old special grilled cheese recipe and get a semi-chub. Maybe you're like me and remember supersized options from McDonald's before they phased it out due to causing hearts to explode. Point being, nostalgia's fucking powerful, and nothing is more nostalgic for me than the original Luigi's Mansion. I still remember the Christmas I got it on the GameCube. Just an outright great game that still holds up well today, and I'm super excited to say the newest Luigi's Mansion 3, is just as good, and in some cases even better than the original. So let's dive the fuck in. The thing I like most about the new Luigi's Mansion is that they have it as a hotel instead of a mansion, which let them do each floor its own unique theme. In the original Luigi's Mansion, each room would have a different theme or purpose, a fitness room, a ballroom, whereas in the hotel, each floor is dedicated to it, the entire floor, so every room follows the theme. For example, there's an entire room or floor that's dedicated to just being a full-blown movie studio that has you with a really cool boss battle at the end on camera. Another floor has you entering an LA Fitness, where you can go in the locker room and find used needles where the synthol was used. Each floor just becomes its own entirely different adventure with a really good boss at the end. The bosses in this game are super fun. They each have different mechanics, some better than others, and there is one boss in particular I find to be a bit tedious for the sake of tedium. It's a cat that you have to chase through multiple floors doing the exact same mechanic to 6 times, and I just think that's a bit excessive. Not that it's a bad fight, but it doesn't change. You're just hunting it across these floors. So I didn't care for that boss, but every other one, for the most part, was a really memorable and enjoyable boss that not only looked good, but had some fun mechanics to play with. And it really is the strongest part about this game, just all of the different places you go and how great they look and how great the boss at the end is. You go to a floor and it takes you to a fucking pirate ship, you summon the Black Pearl and fight its captain. So it's not restricted to just being rooms in a hotel or, themed around something indoors. It has you going all over the place and doing all kinds of crazy shit, which was a lot of fun. Now I'm going to get to a complaint now, because some of the boss fights were made hard, not because they were a hard boss, but because the controls betray you. The controls have a mind of their own, and they're constantly trying to fight you for their independence. When you're trying to aim something like the plunger is something where you can fire it sticks to a surface, you suck it up, and you pull something off. When you're trying to aim that plunger, the controls just don't really work. They don't lock on to what you need them to, and they'll have you spinning all over the place, and this is where the camera angle kind of fucks you as well, because you can't really tell where you are in space or exactly where you're aiming. So then you just get confused, you end up firing the plunger straight behind you or throwing it out your own asshole, so it doesn't really go where you need it to during a boss fight, which became painfully tedious during the last boss. The last boss has you firing bombs into a mouth, and you can't find the mouth half the times because it won't lock on, so be fucking firing bombs like you're doing it with your goddamn eyes closed, because for some reason, it won't target properly. Now luckily it's made a little easier by being able to use the bumpers for the things that you'll need to aim, but even then it's still not great, because when you spin around it does it so violently and you can never really quite tell where you're looking, that it ends up still just being very wonky and just not great. There's also an entire level where you're in a water raft, and the water raft controls are abominable. Has you spinning around like you're drunk on a fucking Ferris wheel. It's just confusing sometimes with how the controls work, but it's not the biggest issue in the world, it's just something that becomes frustrating during certain parts of the game. But that aside, those are my only real complaints with just the occasionally frustrating controls with a camera paired with a camera angle that doesn't really do you any favors with figuring out where you are in space. Other than that, the game's fucking great. The majority of the game will have you solving puzzles, which are actually pretty cleverly designed. They're not just surface level baby shit. Has you thinking like a real strong, scholarly man. And there's a lot of things you can find, some rare jewels hidden throughout the world. And you have a lot of different things to tackle these puzzles with, so you'll be using a lot of them between the plunger, the dark light, and Gooigi. Gooigi's this sidekick that you fart out. He's basically just a cum clone of you. So then you control two Luigis. Gooigi can squeeze through gates and holes and shit like that. So there's just a lot of different ways of approaching these puzzles and a lot of things that you'll have to be thinking about when attacking them. It's a really fun game. And it just feels great to be back in the saddle again with the old Dyson in hand sucking on some ghosts. And the game's also not super short or anything. It took me just under 10 hours to beat it, and that was without going through and finding most of the things hidden in the world. And it does have an online mode, but I didn't find it to be that enjoyable. The online mode basically just has you and some teammates going through rooms, clearing them of random ghost mobs. I didn't find it to be all that enjoyable from the couple of games I played, but it is an option if you just can't get enough of sucking up the ghosts. So plugging Luigi's Mansion 3 into the moist meter, I'm giving it a nice 90%. I think if you own a Switch, this game is a must-have. It's a lot of fun, a really, really cute and exciting adventure, and I just really fucking loved it. That's it. So yeah. I've seen a lot of people taking their britches off to drop a big-time steamer on this movie, saying how stinky it is, and it's not worth watching, it's horrible, and I didn't think it was that bad. When I saw the previews for this, I was even somewhat optimistic. I mean, you got Nine Inch Nails doing the score for this, come on. That's at least going to be watchable in and of its own right. And the visuals looked really cool. I'm not the biggest fan of Jared Leto's work. I know him and I look like we share the same mother, but I haven't really been a fan of anything he's been in for a while. But I thought, even in spite of that, this could still be a good movie. And I just finished watching it, and I thought it was fine. Like, I was entertained. It's not amazing by any means, but it's not nearly as bad as I've seen a lot of people saying it is. Man, there are some people talking about this movie like it came in and fucked their grandma. Like, it is... It's not that bad. Like, the worst part about this movie is everything story-related and character-related, really, when it comes to the writing around the characters. It's very, very weak when it comes to its writing. Like, that is by far the big blemish with Tron Ares. But I also just don't think it even tried. Like, I really think the entire goal of this movie here was just to deliver a visual spectacle and just let Trent Reznor, Nine Inch Nails, just go fucking ballistic on the music. Because that's what it feels like the whole movie is. Just showing you really cool looking scene after really cool looking scene with some absolute boner jams. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the story first and foremost. It's pretty simple. It doesn't seem to follow anything from Tron Legacy, at least not from what I remember. Granted, it's been a very long time. But you have Dillinger, that's the bad company, and you have Incom. That's the good corporation. That's the one we pump our fist for. And these two companies are battling to try and find the permanence code, which will allow their basically 3D printed doodads and everything else to exist past 29 minutes. They have these lasers that can basically just create matter, anything they want, but it can only last 29 minutes before it times out and just fucking like vaporizes itself. And the permanence code will solve that issue. Dillinger wants to get its grubby paws on the permanence code so that way it can fart out weapons and evil stuff, and Incom, headed by Eve, wants to get their hands on the permanence code so they can change the world and basically eradicate disease and hunger and everything, since they can print everything you could ever imagine endlessly. Our main character is Jared Leto, Ares. He is the basically cybersecurity hall monitor superstar of the Dillinger grid. He is an AI program in charge of basically carrying out all of Dillinger's nefarious directives without question. A soldier for him. Dillinger's Umbrella Corp here, they're the bad guys. And Ares, he starts to become, like, empathetic. Like, he starts to feel things, and he is tasked with stopping the lead of Incom, her name is Eve, who has found the permanence code. And in doing so, he decides, you know what, I'm going to defy my orders because I want to live. I'm tired of being a program that dies after 29 minutes every time I get, snapped into the real world here. I want to experience life. He becomes very curious. He develops a soul. It's nothing you haven't seen before when it comes to its writing, and it is definitely the weakest part of this movie. There's not a ton of depth to any of the characters. They're not like overly fleshed out or anything. It's very simple. But I think it's effective enough to get you from set piece to set piece. So like, they have the technology to digitize you. So Eve, she gets cornered by Ares and Athena, who is the other cybersecurity superstar of Dillinger. And then she gets fucking minted on the blockchain because they have a laser that can like reverse particle, Higgs boson, big ball buster, and like zap you into the grid. So they mint her on the blockchain, turn her into an NFT. That way they can extract the permanence code from her, killing her in the process. And Ares, this is his chance. She knows the permanence code, so he's going to save her, defying all of his orders, so that way she can help him survive past 29 minutes in the real world so he gets to experience life. He wants to funge the non-fungible. And in doing so, you get to see the grid, which is very cool looking, and you get to see some action in the real world using these 3D printed, light cycles and the programs. It's cool visually. It's just the writing is really wimpy. It's not well written, and I don't think you're going to see a lot of glaze for that. I imagine most people are going to say the same thing about this film, that it looks really cool and it sounds really cool, and that's it. And they're right, that is it. But that's a big bulk of the movie. Like, that's like, it put all of its eggs in that basket. There's not a whole lot else outside of those two things anyway. So, while the writing is weak, and while there is definitely some cringe scenes here, I don't think it, like, ruined my enjoyment of just, like, a simple popcorn flick where I'm watching, extreme lights blow up and shit and video game sound effects with, like, a really great Nine Inch Nails track playing. So yeah, it definitely has its flaws. I really think that pretty much everything it set up with the characters was a miss. I just don't see many people going into this film being like, wow, that villain was so deep and complex. Like, he is literally just one note. That's it. And I've seen that criticism about him as well, and it's true. That's all he is. He's just like, I must get permanence code to do bad stuff for money. He even point blank says, $1 trillion I will make with blood money, Ares, and it's your job to help me do it. That kind of thing. Like, it's very hammered home. It's not a good villain, and our main character is fine, but not super deep either. I'm talking about both Eve and Ares. Neither one of them gets a whole lot of tender loving care put into, like, building this character up to make you invested in them. But even with these flaws, I still did have fun watching the movie. Because, like I said, most of the film is just showing you really cool visuals either in the grid or even outside of the grid. Because they bring the grid to the real world frequently. In fact, I don't think you're ever in the real world without the grid, being present in some way. Whether it's Ares and Athena coming out there or something. Like, pretty much every scene is going to have some cool shit from the grid. And the music is just so good. So I had fun. It's not great. It's not an amazing movie, but I think it was still an entertaining one. That's really about it. See ya. Yeah, you're not ready for this video. This is genuinely one of the worst videos on YouTube. It comes from a YouTuber named Trisha. She makes a whole bunch of shitty videos to begin with, but this is the max level. This is Digivolve to its highest level. If all of her other garbage content were just appetizers, then this is the main course, the dessert, and the diarrhea you get after eating it all. It's so shitty. I'd rather watch Two Girls, One Cup with a beheading going on in the background than watch this again. But I'm going to watch it again. I'm going to be strong for all of you, so that way we can all sit here and experience the dark side of ASMR. ASMR in its most vile and deplorable form. The video is called Making Out with My Couch, and that doesn't even do this justice. She does far more than just make out with the couch. Look at the alien underneath her. Look at the fear in its eyes. It looks like it's a hostage on Jeffrey Epstein's private plane. This whole thing is so avant-garde. I can only pretend to comprehend the full scope of Trisha's magnum opus here. the inner mechanisms going on in her mind, the neurons that are firing, oh, her creative genius is on full display. Fantastic. At least that's what the comments would have you believe. People fucking jerked off to this. I don't know how you can even listen to this without getting squeamish. As you can see, the plot is really developing now. She's graduated from making out with couches to making out with tabloids, as the alien on the floor tearfully prays that the building engulfs in flames before it's his turn to face this ridicule, this punishment, this loud sloshing. This isn't even kissing or making out with the Sprite bottle, it just looks like she's eating it like corn on the cob. I bet there's a good handful of people that watch this and then thought to themselves, maybe I don't really like Sprite all that much anymore. This poor guy, hasn't he suffered enough? Area 51, Roswell, New Mexico, all that shit. Hasn't he been through enough? Just look at the poor soul, looking like SpongeBob, drying up due to lack of water. He's clearly not into this, and I highly doubt consent was established beforehand, and quite frankly, this whole thing just sucks. I really don't get it at all. I don't understand if it's supposed to be wacky, supposed to be a fetish. I'm guessing it's supposed to be sexual, because in the description she says you can see the uncensored version on her shitty website. I really don't understand it. When I was initially watching this, I thought I was looking at her overdose. That right there is a sign of just fucking heroin overdose hardcore. She just looks like she's filter feeding while lying on the couch. She's fading out of this corporeal dimension over to the other side, and she's doing it in the grossest way possible with those abominable noises. This is just straight out of a nightmare where you have like a deep South Alabama grandmother coming to make out with you on the lips and you can't stop her. This is just gross to watch and listen to. It's as if her lips are the tentacles on an octopus and they're just suction cupping to something and just ripping it off, but she makes a much grosser sound than those do. I would rather listen to 2 dump trucks crashing into a whoopee cushion factory. I'd rather listen to 5 nails on a chalkboard for 10 hours than listen to this 5-minute video again. It's absolutely an attack on the senses, both visually and auditory. I'd have more fun watching a video of a public urinal at a gas station getting cummed into than watching Trisha's abomination here. This is just downright revolting. I can't even begin to understand what she thought she was doing when she was making this, like comedically or even sexually. It fails in every possible aspect imaginable. I watched an art piece where a woman cut out the vagina on a morph suit and had a bodyguard lift her up and carry her in a circle as she pissed on the floor, and that made more sense to me than Trisha's video does here. This is just unbelievable to me. She must have thought it was a good idea at some point. Yeah, I'll get an alien for a prop and make out with it. I'll make out with my hand. I'll make out with the camera. It's so lazy even in its attempts to be weird. She doesn't even have good props, just whatever fucking garbage she found lying around her hotel room or wherever she is. It's weird and shitty. If you were a virgin, you are no longer. Trisha just sucked that shit out through the computer screen like a succubus. I feel violated, absolutely violated, like I just sinned and now I need to go to a confession at the church. Yeah, overall, just a super uncomfortable and shitty video. I understand she made it probably for attention, but not even that really worked for her. I guess it kinda did, but it was a massive net loss in subscribers for her when she posted this. And she's been doing this for a while, just really bad, shitty content to try and stay afloat, I guess. But it's not really working. It's just really pathetic at this point. That's about it. So yeah. Yeah, the movie was good. And I'm surprised to be saying that, because I went into this movie a little Scrooge-esque, a little bah humbugging, because from the first trailer, I thought, like, yeah, this could be entertaining, but, the last big screen Predator film, Predator 2018, was unbelievably horrible. That was complete dog shit, but I will always defend this. I think Predator 2018 is one of the more fun bad movies we've had in a long time. It is such a piece of trash in all of the right ways that it loops around to being entertaining. So bad, it's good. It is a film where the Predator species is harvesting the best DNA from all of the other species they hunt in order to make themselves stronger, so they splice it in to become, even stronger to level up. And they choose humanity, and you're led to believe that they're choosing us because of our strong soldiers, but no, it turns out they're actually hunting our main character's son because he's autistic, and they want to harvest his autism to make themselves stronger. So they came to Earth to take our autism. Really entertainingly shit film. But it is, at its core, a shit film. So Predator Badlands, I didn't have the highest hopes for, especially considering I didn't like the new design of our main character here, Deck. I also didn't love the idea of the Predator being the good guy. Like, how can you really spin that in a way where you give a fuck? But in the context of the film, his look really works because he is the runt of his clan. And he is, like, about to be called because he is weak. And they're insulting him, this and that. So him looking so different from all the other Predators does make sense in the context of the film. And it works, and you buy into it. And I also really think that they do make you care about him. Like, having him be the main character and the good guy, I'll put in quotes, it works. And it doesn't feel like super cheesy or super stupid. Which I was pleasantly surprised by because, again, conceptually, I don't love the idea of taking the Yautja and making him more human throughout a hunt. I just feel like we don't need to make every single character that you ever see in film have all these human traits. I think it's very cool if they're super different from humans across the board. So, like, the idea, I don't love, but they execute it really well to the point where I thought it was really well done, and I actually enjoyed it. And you know what you will enjoy is some canned goof juice, baby. That's right. Gamer Sups is back with some canned goof juice, this time sugar-free. It's available right now, so go get some sugar-free goof juice in a can, baby. What I will say gets a little cattywampus, though, is the humor. So, you can see from the trailer, he does team up with a synth. It's Elle Fanning's character, Thea, and the two of them basically form a little tag team in order for him to complete his task. And they actually banter occasionally. Like, I wouldn't quite say it's MCU humor, but it's just like little jokes and goofs here. Which I do think is a little weird because, I don't know, I feel like the Yautja probably wouldn't be so chummy while on this sacred hunt after everything that Deck had been through. I don't think he would be such an open book, ready to just start, like, joking and, like, nudging a friend here. It just feels a little odd. I don't even think it's, like, poorly done or anything, but I just think that's a little, a little much. Another thing that I was pretty concerned with is that this is PG-13, which I didn't know until I got to the theater. And watching the film, it doesn't feel like a PG-13 movie because there is so much gore, dismemberment, and death and destruction, but it's synths. So, and I'm going to avoid spoilers for now. We'll get into spoilers in a moment. A lot of other synths are there doing research on this planet where Deck is on his hunt. So he's killing a lot of, like, aliens and stuff, but it's not red blood. It's like Covenant blood from Halo. You got all kinds of different colored blood, yellow and shit, and the synths, of course, aren't red blood. So even though the kills are really gruesome with, like, heads being collapsed, impaled, ripped off, like entire spines getting ripped off, there's never any blood. So it's able to get away with a PG-13 rating, I guess, which is cool. I mean, I'm still glad that it's so gruesome, but I will say it does make it feel a little weird because since they are synths, you're expecting them to be smart. But all the synths, aside from a couple, are actual fucking idiots. Which to me doesn't make a whole lot of sense because why are these robots so dumb? And, like, they even show fear sometimes. Like just random grunts, and I don't think they were, supposed to have that emotion there. Like, I understand there are some synths in the universe that do, but here, like, just random ones. Like, they're all really dumb. And I just don't think that computes here, because why would they all be so bad at, like, deducing the most basic things? Like, there's actually a scene here where they go undercover to try and, you know, stealthily break through enemy lines here, and the synth even stops one of them and actually falls victim to, like, a Jedi mind trick. Except I'm being very generous with that. It is literally, they're just telling a very comical lie to the synth's face, and he's believing it. And they eventually get the leg up on him because of it. So, like, why are they synths when they are this stupid? The only reason is so they can get away with a PG-13 rating and still have a ton of blood and gore. It's just, when you stop and think about it, it just doesn't really make a lot of sense why all of them are so dumb. They're robots. And I know it's not the biggest deal in the world, but it is just a little weird. Unless these are like fucking first generation Roombas or something, just like throwaway dumb idiot bots that they brought to this planet for an extremely crucial mission. But yeah, if you were worried about this movie being like really watered down because of its rating, I don't think that's really a fear you need to have going into it. I think they do a really good job with the action. In fact, I think the vast majority of this movie is action sequences. He's either hunting creatures on this planet, being hunted himself, or killing synths. So there is pretty much non-stop action happening, and I think it's all really, really cool. Like, they didn't pull any punches, even though it is a PG-13 rated film. So I thought they crushed it in that department. Now, before wrapping it up, I want to briefly get into some spoilers to talk about some other stuff I thought was really cool, but it is a spoiler, so here's your spoiler warning. I really liked Thea, and I really liked seeing more of the Yautja culture. I thought it was very cool to see the Yautja home planet and seeing Deck fight against other Yautja. So him versus father at the very end, I think, was super hype, where he, you know, easily, well, not, I guess I won't say easily, but he overpowers the Royal Guard. I'm assuming they're the Royal Guard, considering they're his father's right-hand men. And the way that he evolved after his time on the most dangerous planet we've seen yet, the death planet Jenna, was very cool. And then his showdown with his father that mirrored what happened to his brother, basically. And then he says, I have my own clan, I think was a really fun conclusion. And the way they set up for a further Predator film was very hype with his mother showing up. I thought that was so fucking cool, and I think they did a great job with the action. And I really liked the Yautja, and I'd love to see more from it. And I also, like I said, like Thea. I think Thea was a very cool character to see in here as well, where she was able to kind of humanize is probably not the right word, but help Deck see that maybe not everything he'd been taught about the Yautja is the only way to live. Maybe there's more to it than just hunting alone. Maybe it's worth, you know, hunting in a pack like wolves and protecting instead of just killing, that kind of thing, which I know can be very cliche, but I think it works really well in this film. So I liked it a lot. I liked it significantly more than I expected. I think it's very hype, and I do hope there is a follow-up to it. Hopefully there is a sequel where we see more of Deck and more of Thea and more of Bud. I think it was very fun. So anyway, it was a good movie. That's about it. So yeah.